Hello everyone. You're welcome for this first session of coordination in plants, which is topic 6 as far as the new curriculum is concerned. And it is a topic of senior 6 term 1, but even form 5s can really join and be with us, okay? Because it is a topic that some schools can decide to teach in senior 5, so the earlier the better. So we covered coordination in animals. For those who have just attended this, be aware that coordination in animals is ready for you all, and we are now yet here for coordination in plants. So I'm going to repeat something so small concerning the meaning of coordination and what really happens in plants, and then we shall actually get our prophecy really manifested from the syllabus book. So what is to coordinate to begin with? Okay, now coordination, most of you have class coordinators, and it is very wise for coordinators of something to be more than one. So the role of coordinators is to work together, and they should work together orderly. You get the point? And the role is to have appropriate flow or smooth flow of work. Simple as that. Coordinators work together, and they should be working together orderly to make sure that the work or the flow of work is smooth and appropriate, if I may say. So that is coordination. So I will not hesitate, I'll write that because it will take us to what we really want. I will always be reminding you that now this is the orderly working together I told you about, and this is the smooth flow or appropriate flow of work that I was telling you about in the beginning. Are we together? So coordination alone, coordination is strictly orderly working together. Of course, different people, different what, and so on and so forth. So, we shall talk of course, here we are dealing with plants. So there will be different parts of a plant. Of course, in people, it is different persons. Okay. So I'll be like different parts, orderly working together. Yeah. Yes, there should be some working together, coordinate what we call coordinating, orderly working together. And the role or the mission, the vision, and so on is to produce what we call an appropriate response. So producing an appropriate response is what you may look at as maybe the smooth or appropriate flow of work. Are we together? So now, why coordination in plants? So why do these biology people come out to tell us that now we want you to tell us how coordination in plants is going to really happen? So this is what is really going to happen in plants. So these plants are, they are living things, and we have what we call characteristics of living things. I know you've heard of them before, isn't it? I know you've all heard of who can raise up their hand and tell us all the characteristics of living things? All of them, if you're sure of them. I want you to see that you're not very good biology students and you're not doing the needful. You're not reading. You tell me who can really raise up their hand and tell us all of them. Okay. Bray, tell us all the characteristics of living things. All of them.
Yeah, good evening, doctor, and other guys. So, living things, they reproduce, they respire, they grow, they respond to stimuli, so they are sensitive. And I mentioned they reproduce, huh?
Yes, you did.
They die, they locomote or move.
Which book is that? They die. Which book is that?
Actually, it's not from the book.
Where is it from?
I think I got it from a teacher.
Oh, okay. They die.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, he pointed out what I really wanted is that they are sensitive. And by sensitivity or irritability, that simply means that they are responsive to stimulus. So these plants are living things, and since they are living things, we have said, they are living things. So we expect them to be sensitive. And in biology, by sensitivity, we mean they are responding to stimulus, or they are responsive to stimulus. Or someone can be like stimuli. And I remember defining for you stimulus in the lesson of coordination, but for animals, where we say that this one is simply what? A change in the external or internal environment. That's what we said. So it's just a change. And we agree that the moment the stimulus is responded to, we always have signals being sent. We get signals sent, and then we have the appropriate response. So it does not only happen in animals, but also in plants. For example, when you see a barking dog running towards you, so you respond to that, and then the signals are sent to your brain, and then the brain communicates to your legs. You immediately start running. It communicates to a lot of things. Your muscles, because they're supposed to contract so that you can run well. Your eyes, so that your pupil can dilate to see clearly where you're really going. It communicates to your heart as well, so that it can pump blood at a very high rate for you to get enough for enough blood to be pumped, for enough oxygen to be delivered to the contracting muscles, things like that. So it's a long story. So the moment there is an external change, or a change in the external internal environment, that is the stimulus. So you respond. The moment you respond, you're sensitive, you're a living thing. Signals are sent to the brain, and an appropriate response is actually what? Produced. So you realize that we discussed that in animals, and we said it involves nerves. That's why in animals we talked of those things of nerves, things like that. But now, to make matters worse, this time round we may not have the nerves. Yeah. So I'm going to just remind you of something small, that yes, if at all they are the animals, those people who recall very well, we said nerves are present. And you people have heard of nerves, eh? It is not something that is really new. Nerves are just those things that transmit the nerve impulses. It is just something small. I don't want you to overthink. It's not hard. And don't worry, we are going to connect to the plants. And then we also have what we call hormones. And I think you people have heard of hormones. I want each of you to tell me any hormone they know, eh? Any hormone they know. Tell me any hormone you know in the chat. When it is inside your body, the human body. It will be quite absurd if you don't know. I don't care whether it's in males only or females only. I don't care. Tell me any hormone you know, because I may be speaking to the wrong people. So I want to confirm that. Adrenaline, thank you so much. Any other? Dopamine, ACTH, ADH, progesterone, estrogen. People are struggling with the spelling of estrogen. Okay, people have tried. So people know these things. Testosterone. Thank you so much. So, yeah, that's what we are meaning. That in animals, for example, man, us, we are also animals. So for us, the communication really happens via hormones. So someone may be like, what of the plants? How is the communication going to happen? How is it really going to happen? Things like that. So even in plants, we have what we call hormones. They really exist. So even in plants, um, so you all know that for perfect coordination, communication should be clean and key. It is very key to communicate. Okay, so so we are going to say, just like animals. So even just like animals, the plants also communicate via plant hormones. Yeah, so you learn that from me. I want you to listen via plant hormones. So you all know that in taxonomy, or in classification, we have what we call phyta. You tell me, when you see something like phyta somewhere, or phyto whatsoever, What do you pick when you see something like phyto, when you see something like fighter? What do you learn? In ecology, you study what they call phytoplanktons. So don't tell me that you've never heard of this. It is something so important. What do you really understand when you see fighter, when you see phyto? What comes to your mind? Yeah, I can see LSH, I can see LSH doesn't exist, it maybe you meant LH, I can see prolactin. Yeah, I'm seeing glycogen, that is wrong. That is wrong. So when you see fighter, that simply means plants, eh? So every time you see fighter, fighter, even if you just go to the internet now and ask the meaning of fighter or phyto, they will tell you that that is what? Plant. I think in 2023, I got a certificate in it's certain short course called phytochemistry, and it was literally concentrating on chemistry of plants. Yeah, it was one of the I needed it for my research of last year, 2025. Okay, so when you see something like that, it means plant or it's related to plant. So plant hormones can be phytohormones, phytohormones. Very important. You find it in Principles and Applications of Biology, one of your standard textbooks. Are we together? Now, how are these? Okay, what are some of those examples? Because you people have told me you've actually given me all hormones, most of the common ones at your level, but there are so many. There are so many. There are so many. Okay, I expected people to tell me something about insulin, but I didn't see insulin and I was a bit disappointed. But it's a very good hormone, especially in medicine. Okay, now, what are those examples of the plant hormones? Just like you people have given me the examples in animals, can you please also tell me some of those you think that are for plants? Can people list some examples or they can't? So we are going to list some. And I think we are going to just find those in the books, so that we save time. But we have auxins, they are there in our notes, so I'm not going to try it. I've just been giving you an introduction. So we have them, we have the auxins, we have abscisic acid, we have gibberellic acid, we have cytokinins, we have ethene, or what they call ethylene. So someone may be like, those are a lot of words. We really need to have a look at them and get to know what they are. So I think that is enough introduction for the topic and we can proceed. So it is topic 6. Are we together? And it is chapter 6.1. That is the first subtopic and it is in coordination of plants. And one of the things we are going to really give time is the control of plant growth. Remember, there is a topic, I think it is topic 8, where we are supposed to look at growth in plants and development in insects. So there we just look at plant growth as plant growth. We don't look at its control. Its control is taught in this topic. Hope you understand. So that one is topic what? Topic 8, which I'm also supposed to cover very soon. And then topic 6 is here to cover the control of topic 8. Hope we are together. Now, before you even go through the syllabus book, we really need to know those things. Uh-huh. Now, I've told you that those responses in plants are controlled or coordinated by the plant hormones I've told you about, or the phytohormones, as you can see here. Phytohormones or plant hormones. And I've told you there are so many. Examples have been listed here. Auxins, you see, we have what we call gibberellins, and they are saying that gibberellins, you can either call them gibberellic acids. Are we together? So you can see they're abbreviated as GA. So from today henceforth, when you see GA, it means gibberellic acid. You understand? And um, let me challenge you all. Don't copy. I want you to really be honest with yourselves. Don't copy. I'm having those forwards. The first one, the second, the third, and then the fourth. You tell me which one is the right word? Which one is the right word? Because it's something that I said last. Which one is the right word? I'm having 1 to 4. Tell me which one is the right word. Hey, which one is the right word? Most of them are saying, most people are saying the fourth, but it is none. Eh? Most of you are saying the fourth, but it is none. And I had the reason for that because that is the mistake most students do. It happened in one of the years at UNEB where most students ended up writing this. Yes, most students ended up writing this, and it was a typing error in the UNEB paper. But they crossed students because that meant students just cram work and don't really give certain things time. None of these ones is right. None of them. None of them. They did that intentionally because I know people are just obsessed with seeing the longest word of Gibberellins. So it's supposed to be very sensitive, yeah? So it's a very different word. Very different. I don't know how you're going to really capture this, but you're supposed to capture it, you like it or not. So the word is different. Eh? The word is different. So how are you really going to master this? Gibberellins. I don't know, maybe the pronunciation, I don't know how best, but this is it. For me, all I know, of course, we have B here. Then I know we have this. Then I know we have this. Then I know we have that. I don't know, but me, I just got it like that. One thing me, I remind myself are these double letters. Eh? But me, the way I got them, it was my personal thing. So you may not really be involved and it may not work for you. But me, when I was still a student, I was like, the letters that may give me a time is this B, this R, and L. And I was really asking myself, what are those letters that really repeat themselves? So remember, for me, my names, these are the initials of my names. So I was like, oh, L and B, since they are initials in my name, they are the ones I will really repeat in the name Gibberellins. But you can make good use of internet and ask internet, how can I really recall? AI came, so make good use of it. How can I really recall the spelling of Gibberellins? That's how I used to recall it up to now. Yes, that spelling can really disturb even after years. But me, I used to be like, after all, I have a name that begins with L. After all, I have a name that begins with B. That means those are the letters I'm supposed to repeat. Then someone may be like, how would you really master that? Maybe the double L is coming last. I was just remembering one name, Gabriel, because I could, every time I could think of Gibberellins, I think of what? Gabriel. Then I'll be like G, B, R, then L come last. Then I'll be like B and L are the ones that I repeated because they are initials of my names. That is all. But trust me, it is a very serious word. And at least you have seen that evidence in the chat where people were confidently going for something very wrong. So, G, G, B, Re, Lins, like that. Or you can call it gibberellic acid. Very serious. Many people have gotten something. Eh? So it's one of the plant hormones. So G for gibberellic, then F for acid. So you have what we call cytokinins. I taught you cell division, okay, under inheritance and evolution, and we talked of something they call cytokinases. But this one shouldn't really disturb you. Eh? You should know that cyto means cells, so you don't really need to be disturbed. And you should know that kinins really comes from kinesis. And you know, kinesis, of course, means motion. Eh? So that cannot really disturb you. Then the other plant hormone is the ethene, or they locally call it ethylene. So ethene and ethylene, they are the same thing. I remember in organic chemistry, most of the biology students do chemistry. I taught you alkenes myself. And I told you that what is so special with alkenes is this part, because even others change from there, from in to N, from in to ine. Eh? So from alkenes to alkanes to alkynes. So the in part is so important. So provided the in is on both names, that means ethylene and ethene, there is really enough evidence that they mean the same thing. Then the other plant hormone is abscisic acid. Okay? And let me challenge you as well again. So you're going to tell me which is the right word of abscisic. So I don't want you to really make a mistake. Yeah, I want you to tell me which one is the right word of abscisic. People are good at. Yeah, those ones are enough. I'm having word one, I'm having the second, I'm having the third, I'm having the fourth. Remember, I'm even showing you things that I first exposed. So let's go for another game. Which one is the right one? Someone is saying second, another one saying first, fourth, first, fourth, one. I'm seeing four. I'm seeing four. I'm seeing two. I'm seeing two. I'm seeing four. I'm seeing two. I'm seeing one. Yeah. Okay. Someone is saying none. Now that one is just using that. How is that called? It's called gambling in sports. No, that one is just gambling. That one is just gambling. But okay, people, the right one is the last one. Yeah, is the last one. Abscisic. This the way the way you hear it. Ab s sick. Abs 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 sick. Eh? Abs sick. Abscisic acid, something like that. So it is another word that really disturbs so many students, even when they know what it does. Abscisic. It even sounds like something that is very bad. And we are also going to see that in this topic that abscisic acid is very bad. It is that one hormone or that one plant hormone with the most bad manners or with the worst bad manners. I don't know whether worst manners, but it is very bad, as we are going to see. So, um, after us going through the plant hormones and you know what they do, so I'm going to also brief you about their interactions. The discussion is going to be really fruitful. Then we have florigen. So when you see the word florigen, of course you think of flowering. So florigen, of course, is in support of what? Flowering. It is in support of flowers really coming out. Yeah. Now, what is the other last thing? So these hormones are there to help us control different responses. So these plant hormones you're seeing, they control different responses, and we are supposed to look at all of them in this topic. Control different responses, and I'm going to list them here. So one of them, we have, of course, growth. That one I told you. And we are also going to look at how growth is really controlled for today. And then we are going to see how flowering is controlled, though we are not going to look at that today. Are we together? Then there is fruit ripening. We are going to look at that today. Fruit ripening. Hope people are adding these things. They are so important. Then what else? We have dormancy. We have tropisms. Tropisms, I think they will be our next class. Then we have dormancy and so many different things. Okay, I think I should just add it slightly here down. Dormancy. That is it. So people, what is that last thing I'm going to tell you before we go through the syllabus book? This is it. That coordination, we are supposed to orderly work together to have an appropriate response. Okay, if they are plants, they are living things, they are sensitive. They respond to stimulus, signals are supposed to be really sent, and an appropriate response should come in. What is the mode of communication? So we are saying communication is usually via what? Plant hormones, or what they call phytohormones. So just like in animals where we have the adrenaline, the oxytocin, the progesterone, the testosterone, the way you gave me those hormones, even this side of plants we have the hormones. Though they say they are kind of different, the florigen, the auxins, the gibberellins or the gibberellic acid, the cytokinins, the ethylene or ethene, the abscisic acid. and so on and so forth. And what do they help us? They control, they coordinate so many responses. And what are those responses? We have growth, we have flowering, we have fruit ripening, we have tropisms, we have dormancy. And for today, we are going to look at growth. We look at the flowering, sorry, the fruit ripening, then dormancy, so that we remain with tropisms and flowering. And that will be next time. Okay? So that is the plan. Now, when you go to the syllabus book, remember it is so good that it really gives you competences that are going to really guide you on what the item writers will concentrate on as they are setting for your exams. So they want you to be in position to examine the role of those plant hormones in the different responses I've talked about. Okay, things like tropisms, things like photoperiodism, in growth, in dormancy, both seed and bud dormancy. We are going to see what all that means. And then in photoperiodism is the flowering part. Don't be so surprised. So you people, that is it. So as I've told you, it is in the next chapter where we shall look at tropism, because it's a very serious concept and it involves a lot of hormones. So we are supposed to first discuss those hormones well, so that we go to those things of tropism later. So what are we really going to look at today? For today, I want us to discuss the role played by the gibberellins, the cytokinins, the abscisic acid, and the ethylene. We see how they probably regulate growth. We see their interactions and, of course, their commercial applications. Very important. Okay. And then, of course, the effect of ethylene on raw fruits. That one is going to also be talked about. So we are going to strictly see that. And it is very high yield when it comes to scenarios. One of my friends told me that I came across a scenario that was talking of ethylene, and I didn't know that it plays a very important role when it comes to fruit ripening. And you're going to enjoy the biology there. Okay? Then one of the things you're supposed to do, and you're supposed to remind your teachers, that you're supposed to visit a floriculture farm. Very important. Even as we shall visit it, because here they said search for or visit. So we can just go to YouTube, and there are so many floriculture farms on YouTube. So you can just visit it online. But if it is at a school level, you can visit. But why? You just want to learn the content. So the visit can be online, you see the things, then you go back to the content. But this is all about flowering, which is next time. So the only concepts we are not discussing today, it is the flowering part, because I really want to give this time, and then the other part of tropisms. And they will be in different classes. So there shall be a specific class for tropisms, and there shall be a specific class for photoperiodism, or the flowering part. And then that shall end the topic of coordination in what? In plants. Because here the next thing, it is coordination in animals. You can see they are talking of impulse what? Transmission. So that is in animals, which we covered. So that's why we shall cover work slowly by slowly, and we shall really be there. So be ready to learn whatsoever hormone does as far as today's class is concerned, and a lot of biology. Having it in mind, our next stops are tropism, and then lastly, flowering. Okay, now we go back here, and then we proceed with the reading. What are they saying here? Now you listen. Those people who usually say that, doctor, you say a lot, but we don't usually get time to write. You first listen and understand. You can visit this class again and watch it at the speed of times to note down those things I really left out. Or you can raise up your hand and ask for a pardon. Okay? Now, what are they saying? That these plant hormones, or the phytohormones, they are also called plant growth substances. Very important, because one of the things they control or coordinate is what? Is growth. Are we together? Yeah. So those plant growth substances, why they are called so, it's because that they normally or mainly influence growth response. Someone may be like, but why can't these plants just grow? Why do they really need only and only growth responses? It's because they don't locomote. Simple as that. Hope you are aware. Do people know locomotion and movement? With movement, you just move part of your body. Those people who know Amapiano and those other dances that involve movement of only part of the body but not the whole body. That's now movement. But then there are other dance strokes that involve the movement of the whole body, especially those dance strokes from Masaka. I usually see those videos on one of the social media platforms by one of the DJs, I think is called Sona Ben. People from Masaka like him so much. So the way they dance, that is locomotion, very disorganized. But then the Gen Zs, the piano part, that is movement because you just move part of the body and not the whole body. So plants move, but they can't locomote. Okay? Uh-huh. You can only believe that if you don't watch Ugandan movies because there are so many weird things that happen there. Like, for example, I saw one where a plant locomoted. So I was really so surprised and disturbed. So, for the next table, we are going to look at the major effects of the different plant growth substances. Okay? And we are going to have 3 columns and so many rows in line with the syllabus. So here we are going to have the growth substance. So you know that the phytohormones, the plant hormones are the what? Plant growth substances, because growth is one of the things they control. Then here we are going to have the site of production. Where are they really produced? Then this side we shall see the major effects on what? On plant growth. So before we even go through them, I want you to be aware of certain things. One of them is that these auxins, they are the ones we are beginning with. These ones are very good. Yeah, you should know that. Even the gibberellins are very good. So expect the auxins to be doing very good things. You understand? By very good things, I mean things like, of course, promoting good things. So you see them promoting, you see them stimulating. Our students in the old curriculum used to fail this topic so much, but they were not aware. They were not aware. So, promoting or stimulating good things. Then we shall see the other bad ones like abscisic acid. They will also be doing the promoting and stimulating, but they will be only promoting and stimulating bad things. So you expect this as we read through our work. Then the other thing I want to tell you, maybe we shall meet it as we proceed. So they are saying that one of the examples of auxins that are most common, or those that you meet in an exam, is the indole acetic acid. Those words of indole acetic acid, they really concentrate on the structure. Remember, we have the structure first, and then we have the nomenclature coming in. And then the short form of the indole acetic acid is I to mean indole, A to mean acetic, then the last A to mean what? Acid. Then also you saw that the abscisic acid was something like ABA. I don't know if people saw that. The abscisic acid, they told us it was ABA. Do you see that? It's here. This thing here. But someone may be like, you people tell me, if the name is abscisic acid but the short form is ABA, where is this B coming from? Because I may be like, okay, this last A is for acid. Maybe this first A is for abscisic. What of this B? Because the standard abbreviation is ABA. So where do you think that B is coming from? Who can think for us and tell us? You people, you're all quiet. You people, it comes from that B you're seeing after A. Don't overthink. There is no rocket science. Don't think there is something missing. It is, yeah, the first 2 letters. So ABA, the AB is the first 2 letters for the word abscisic. So when you're asked, you should be aware of that. Okay, now we can start going through all this, and we may find a lot of words that we shall find in the other topic. You understand? And then before I go any further, we are talking of this being called plant growth substances. In O level, you were taught the stages of growth. Who can tell me the stages of growth? Who knows the stages of growth? Because I remember you were taught growth and development, or something was really mentioned about them. Who can tell me how do really cells grow? Stages of cell growth, if I may say, just cell growth. If I'm to remind you, There are 3 stages. So who knows those 3 stages? Because they may be used here. eh, they may be used here. So who can tell me what are the 3 stages of cell growth? Who knows them? What do cells first do? Then what do they do next? Things like that. Do I have any answer in the chat? Someone is like, my network, sorry. Yes, cell division. Thank you so much. So cells first divide. Yes, Bright. I like it when someone raises up their hand to save time. So someone has told us that cells first divide, so that is cell division. Now, what next?
Eh, Doctor,
Yes, please.
I was thinking of the anaphase, telophase, and metaphase.
Oh, those are other things. Now, those are stages of cell division, eh? But here we are
Okay.
talking of the stages of cell growth.
Okay,
Hope we are
doctor.
together. Yeah, now that,
Mm.
that is in cell division where I see the mitosis and meiosis. Then we look at the stages of mitosis, which is a form of cell division. But here there are 3. That after cells dividing, let me see the chart. Yeah, exactly. People have ideas. I can see people saying differentiation, enlargement. I think that one wanted to say elongation. So cells first elongate. After these cells
Okay.
dividing, remember, I want them to grow fully. So we shall have cell elongation. Okay. And then we shall have cell differentiation last. Some may be like, Doctor, what do you mean by cell differentiation? I thought differentiation is a topic in math. Differentiation has another word. What is that other word to mean differentiation? There are 2 words that mean differentiation. I want you to say them. I'm not supposed to be giving you all the content. Tell me the other 2 synonyms for differentiation. Trish Keira, that name comes last. Yes, specialization, that is one. What is the other one? So Trish has told us specialization. What is the other one to mean differentiation? There are 2 other synonyms at your level that can be used in question, so you should be aware of them so that you're not really stopped out. You people, you're not aware. That is so bad. It is maturation. So with cell differentiation, we are having cells specialize. We are having cells mature. So yeah, we are having cell specialization. Okay. And then if you don't want to use any of the 2, you can use cell maturation. So when you come across any of those, very key. So since we are talking of course, growth, don't be surprised when some of the hormones really go as into detail as cell division, cell elongation, cell differentiation, maturation, or specialization. So when you see them, they're just representatives of what? Cell growth. Ahem. For example, the very first effect of the auxins, they are saying that auxins stimulate cell division in the cambium. Now, someone may be like, what is the cambium? That is also now another thing that may disturb people. So, let me brief you. This is biology. You're supposed to learn all those new things. So, growth has 2 types. Write them in the chat. The other ones were stages of growth, of cell growth. But now growth has 2 types. You tell me the types of growth in the chat also. You've heard of these things before, so we are supposed to discuss together. We are supposed to improve together in the subject. Are people writing the 2 types of growth? Because I'm saving our document. This is coordination in plants. Yeah. Means what people are telling me. Hey, vegetative and reproductive. Complete growth and incomplete. Anyway, that is kind of good. At least people have ideas, But I was really interested in the primary and secondary. Yeah. So you people, you will appreciate that for this case of primary growth, auxins are very key. Very key. Even in secondary, they are very key. Now, this side of the secondary growth, This is where we shall find the cambium, yeah? Okay. Now someone may be like, what is that cambium? So this cambium simply has the actively dividing cells, eh? Actively dividing cells. This is in biological science, eh? That's why I find very good work concerning growth in plants. Remember, it is secondary growth. And you like it or not, growth has three stages: the division, the elongation, and differentiation. So it is the cambium that is the site for the first stage of secondary growth, that is division. So where those actively dividing cells are in secondary growth, it is in the cambium. Yeah? You get the point? That's why here they are telling you in the book that what can help stimulate that cell division in the cambium are the auxins. Because I've even told you that, yes, these auxins will help us stimulate. So for this lesson, when I use a plus, it means stimulating. Then when I use a negative, I mean inhibiting. Eh? So these auxins, they also stimulate what? The secondary growth. Eh? And you should be used to those pluses and minus. They are so common at higher levels of education. Plus means stimulating, then negative meaning inhibiting. Are we together, people? Eh? Growth is primary or secondary, and auxins really stimulates both. But since in secondary growth we have the cambium, where the actively dividing cells really seed, the auxins really comes in to help them keep actively dividing. So it stimulates cell division in the cambium, hence promoting secondary what? Growth. Then there is a certain word that people really use badly, that is promoting and stimulating. You people, if at all they bring a new leader, let me say a new administrator in school, I want you to tell me, okay, we are having two schools. Are we together? We are having school A and school B. What I'm telling you made students fail to get A's in biology, some year where plant hormones were set. So these two schools, they are two different, and they really brought in a new administrator. So this school A already canes students, eh? Already canes. Like they cane at that school, yeah? Then this school B, I feel like mentioning the names of the schools. Then we have school B where they don't cane. But that is bad to mention school names. Eh? Here in this school, they don't cane. So now, they bring a new administrator. Let me say new head teacher. Eh? They bring new HM, headmaster or headmistress. Even in this school, they bring the new HM. I want you to listen carefully. Hey, because for me, if I get your work, I'll cross it. Now, in this school where they are already caning, now this new HM makes the caning worse. Like he adds in more soap, yeah? Makes the caning worse. Like now the school canes more because of that new HM. Then in this school where they don't cane, the new HM introduces caning. So in this school B, the new HM introduces what? Caning. Now I have a simple question. Where has caning been promoted and where has caning been stimulated? Because those are things that really disturb people and make them fail this topic. I want you to look at this category. Those words were used differently, and don't think it is just cosmetics. Here in the first point, it is stimulating, but here it is promoting. Are we together? And it is not really intentional, right? It has a meaning behind. Here they used promote, here they used stimulate. Here they used stimulate, and then here they used promote. Those words don't mean the same thing. The moment you come here and say promote seed germination, that is wrong. You come here and say stimulate cell elongation, that is wrong. You're going to fail because those two words really don't mean the same thing. So you tell me, two schools, one already canes, the other doesn't. So in this one where they already cane, the new HM makes the caning worse. that he puts more efforts in caning. So the school canes more. Then in this school where they have not been caning, the new HM introduces caning. So my question is, where is caning being promoted and where is it being stimulated? Let me see in the chat before I choose people. Promoted in B and stimulated in A. Hey, you see, people are having different things. People are having different things. Okay, let's begin with let's begin with stimulating. Where has it been stimulated? Where has it been stimulated? Hey, you people are not serious. You people, you've never heard of promotions. Can you promote what is not already existing? Hey, you people, you have really disappointed me. My volume has no problem. It is your device. So you click join audio or you do something. It is the role of Zoom to really improve the voice, even if I just whisper. Hey, you people, your English is not okay. Some of you, of course, not all. So you people, where caning was already existing, that's where it is going to be now promoted because it has been found there. So this HM is now just like promoting it. You've not heard of promotions. Promotions are for companies that are already in existence. But stimulating from stimulus is a change. It is something new coming in. Stimulus is a change in the environment. So it is something new. You understand? So it is being stimulated where canes weren't in place, and it is being promoted where it was already in existence. So those words are used differently. So you're supposed to be keen as you're using them. Ask yourself, do we have promotion or we have stimulating? So where there are already canes, this teacher is promoting canes. Okay. They cannot just get you from from the streets and they promote you to senior 6. You're supposed to be in 5 to be promoted to 6. Like you must be already in the system for you to be promoted. You must be a vice president to be promoted to a president, not a senior 6 student to be promoted to president. But here there is stimulus. So here they are being stimulated. Like I may say stimulating. Oh, that means we shouldn't just be teaching these things anyhowly. I didn't know that really people will have hard time with that. But I think you've at least learned, eh? At least you've learned. So when you see stimulating, so you answer me in the chat. If we say that auxins stimulate cell division in the cambium, can cell division in the cambium exist without, okay, can it happen without auxins or it can happen? You tell me in the chat. If auxins stimulate cell division in the cambium, can it happen without auxins or it can? Can it or it can't? Can it or it can't? Can it or it can't? It can't. It can't. It can't. Yeah, people have actually gotten it. Then where we are having that auxins promote cell elongation in shoots, that means shoots can actually elongate. So auxins should actually find shoots in the process of elongating, and then it comes in to promote, like to make the elongation really more superb, something like that. Okay. Then inhibiting. So we said that auxins are very good. So they will be promoting and stimulating good things, and they also inhibit. They will inhibit the bad things. We know inhibit is the opposite of stimulating. So since auxins are very good, we shall be expecting them to inhibit the bad things and then stimulate or promote the good ones. Like for example, someone may be like, but doctor, cell elongation is very good because it is good for cells, sorry, for roots to elongate so that they can reach deeper layers of the soil to get more water, more mineral salts, things like that. But then they added something here that this one only happens at high what? At high concentration. You people, you know that too much of anything is always bad. So even when auxins are very good, the moment they are present in high concentration, trust me, they will cause inhibition. And for strictly cell elongation in roots, though we shall understand that more in the subtopic called oxygens and tropism. That's why we shall really look at the difference in oxygen concentration and their effect. I don't know whether you're getting, and their effect on root or shoot elongation. That will come in. So just get that as too much of anything is always what? Bad. We go. What next? They are talking of apical dominance. Apical dominance is one of the things we are going to meet below, and I think I should just use this chance to talk about them. So first and foremost, when you see the word apical dominance, the first thing to really come into your mind, it's like something is dominating, but maybe you're not yet sure of what exactly is dominating. So the word apical comes from one of the parts of a plant. Who can tell me which part of the plant should really, okay, what is that part of the plant from which you think the word apical was really obtained from? You tell me. What is that part of the plant? Apex. Where is the apex? Thank you so much. So apex. So you tell me in the chat, what is the plural form? What is the plural form of apex? Because apex is one. So what is the plural form of apex? Before you even tell me where they are found, you actually tell me both the plural form of apex and where they are found. Someone is saying shoot. Is it true? The shoot is actually something too complex. It has a lot of things. But where are these? Where are those things? Someone is like, ah, they are found in the leaves. Apex at the tip of the plant. You see, these are the small things that make biology hard. That we learn, yes, what apical dominance means, but you cram. But you're supposed to understand that something is dominating. And since we are looking at plants, maybe the apical is relating to some part of the plant. And you people are saying the apex. Someone is saying ape. That is wrong. The plural is apices. Apices. So apices, and then I'll say that singular apex. So apices, then I'll say that singular, it is what? Singular, it is apex, so that you know that. So where are these, where are they found? Where are they found, the apices? Where are they found? You people, such a thing should not confuse you, because I know all people who are here know that the plural form of vertex, all of you know that it is vertices. So I believe you can just relate the English. Apex, apices, vertex, vertices. You shouldn't be disturbed with such easy words. Where are they found? Someone is like tip of the leaf. Really? Okay, the apex is just a tip. Yeah? So even the leaf has a tip, which is called the apex, but it's not necessarily on a leaf. Yeah? But these are tips of the plant. Tips of the plant. Tips of the what? Tips of the plant. And you people know that the plant will have two tips. Yeah. The plant will have the upper tip and of course the lower tip. Yeah? The upper tip. Remember, the upper plant is the shoot. So this will be called the shoot apex. Then of course the lower tip. And then this will be the root apex. Someone will be like, Doctor, what do you mean? Where you get confused and you're not sure, we shall go to Pinterest. We used Pinterest for physics. We are getting the GM tube. So let's put in shoot and root apices. You have a look at them. Yeah? Shoot and root apices. Let's see if they will help us. They are giving us root systems. Okay, this is good. Let me see. Okay, let me first now put in only shoot apex. I see. Shoot apex. The upper tip of the plant. They are bringing something different. So let me say shoot apex of a plant. Maybe because we had the word shoot, now they brought guns. This is now good. That's now good. Do you see the shoot? And then what you're seeing, okay, the uppermost tip of the shoot is what they call the shoot apex. I think this is okay. Do you see they're saying the shoot apex and leaf growth? So the shoot apex is the most upper tip. Those things are there in biological science, but I also want you to get used to such things. So the shoot apex is just the most upper tip of the shoot. Then we can have also root apex. So for the root apex is the lowest tip of the root apex of a plant. So they are going to bring you root tips. So you see that, eh? So those roots you're seeing, so those lowest tips for the root are what they call the root apices, eh? Mm. Now this is very good. This one. Are you seeing that one? They are trying to show you this is so good. Are you seeing that one? They're even putting for you what they are calling the apical meristem. Do you see the apical meristem? That means those are meristems in the apex. And you can see the apex is even within the root cap. They are down. I think that is okay. So you just simply get them as tips. The uppermost tip of the shoot apex. The lowermost tip of the root is the root what? Root apex. Okay. Now, someone may be like, okay, we've gotten the what? The apices. So where are they really found? Where are they really found in the tips, and what is there? So have it in mind that something is really going to happen. And what is that? So for apical dominance, it's really for the shoot only. Eh? So for the apical dominance, considers the shoot only. That's what you should understand. Considers the shoot only. So it's a bit biased, only the shoot. And what am I trying to mean? That if at all this is our shoot, something like this, of course this shall be the ground, okay? And then this is our shoot apex. Okay, so have it in mind that this one is having oxygens, so important. And you people, guess what is going to happen? You know, these oxygens are good at really promoting, stimulating whatsoever cell growth. So we expect this shoot to increase in height. Are we together? Now, in apical dominance, something happens. We are going to go through the notes and you're going to understand. So, in apical dominance, what happens? We really expect this plant to be growing as it is giving you the branches. Are we together? That if at all it is to grow longer like this, we expect it to be at least developing some branches. Eh? That's what we expect. We expect some branches, something like that. Now, what happens in apical dominance? That yes, these oxygens in the shoot, they are going to cause the elongation, but guess what? They are going to inhibit this growth, this kind of growth. You know that people are getting me. In the apices, but for apical dominance, it is strictly the shoot apex. We are having oxygens there, and oxygens are good at making sure that the shoot grows longer and longer. Are we together? But as the plant grows, we expect it to be really growing branches. But with apical dominance, it's like the shoot apex dominates, in that for it will keep going higher and higher, and it will not be allowing the branches to come off. I know that people are getting apical dominance. The apex is actually dominating the growth, in that the oxygens in the apex are going to cause the elongation of the shoot, but it will not be allowing any other thing to grow because it wants to dominate the growth. Like it's the only one that wants to go higher and higher. It doesn't want these other things to grow. That's what they call apical dominance. So look at it as apices dominating, but which apices? The shoot apices. So what do we have in the shoot apices? Oxygens. What are they going to do? They're going to make the shoot to elongate further and further. So why the dominance part? So it's only the apices that are going to dominate the growth, in that they are not going to allow branches to come off. They are not going to allow any other thing to grow apart from them elongating. Who is causing the elongation? The oxygens. Where are they? In the tip or in the shoot apex. So that is apical dominance only, nothing much. So someone may be like, okay, these are branches, but where do branches come from? Yes, so you're talking of branching. And since these branches are coming from the shoot, we shall call it shoot branching. So someone may be like, where do these branches really come from? So before a branch becomes a branch, it is at first something so small, yeah. For example, you may be having something like this. Yes, you may have something like that, which may be your stem. Yes, and this stem can really develop a leaf, yeah? Something like that. It can have a leaf. So there are always certain buds that develop here. Who can tell me the name of those buds? Yeah, that is your stem, and I'm saying this is your leaf. So there is always a certain group of buds that grows around here. Yeah, and I want you to tell me the name of that bud in the chat. I want to tell you something. What is the name of that bud? You see, I'm seeing different spellings in the chat. So I'm seeing this spelling of auxiliary, and I'm seeing this spelling of axillary. So is it the first one or the second one or both or none? Which one is the right one? I'm seeing auxiliary, I'm seeing lateral, I'm seeing terminal, I'm seeing a lot of things. Which one is the right one? Especially concerning the spelling. Is it the first one, both, or what? I'm seeing some are saying, most of you are saying the second, some are saying auxiliary, and I'm here to tell you that both are correct. Both are correct. So all of you went to very good primary schools. So whether it is auxiliary bad, whether it is auxiliary, both are okay. So auxiliary is okay, auxiliary is okay. Are we together? Then someone brought in some other name, which was lateral bud, that they are growing laterally away from the stem. Like this is the stem, and they are trying to grow off the stem, yeah? So it makes them to be called lateral buds. So when you find that word somewhere, lateral buds, don't be surprised. So lateral buds is also okay. Now the other thing may be, let me ask you something small. I've just actually remembered it. Why are they called axillary buds? Don't copy. Just tell me in the chat that I don't know, doctor. If you know, you tell us. And if you know, just raise up your hand. What do you think they are called axillary buds? Why are they called axillary buds? Do I have anyone who is aware of that? I think no. So, Oscar wants to say something. Yes, Oscar. Why are they called axillary buds?
Hello, good evening, doctor.
Yes, please.
Yeah, they are called axillary buds because like they grow along the axillary region.
Thank you so much. So are you seeing that region that I've really put in a box? That region is called the axillary region, or simply the, okay, we can call it like that. Yeah. So that region is called like that. Axial whatsoever. The other one is axillary. So maybe it is that. So that's the name of that region. So in that region, that's where those buds emerge. And you know why they are called lateral and everything. So that's why they are called like that. Now, it is these buds that become the branches. Someone may be like, but we are talking of apical dominance. What are these things? We talked of apical dominance stopping the branches from coming out. So I was telling you that it is these buds that become the branches. So the buds become the branches. So when you find things like apical dominance stopping the development of these buds, just know they are connecting to shoot branching. So axillary buds, lateral buds, they are connected to shoot branching. Those people who say terminal buds, those are buds that come at the terminal ends of the plant. And this time around, we are talking of only those in the axillary region. Okay? So when you find axillary region, actually the best word is axillary region. You leave that. Axilla, that's the word I wanted. Axillary region. Yeah, axillary. So the region is the axillary region. Yeah. You remove this. Oh, you're already talking about oxygens as the reason. You are good at forging answers. Anyway, so that is it. So we go back and read this. So what are they saying? They are saying that, remember, apical dominance is because of oxygens. So oxygens bring about this apical dominance. And what happens? The development of lateral shoots is inhibited. And when they say lateral shoots, they mean lateral branches. Of course, when the what? The apex is present, or when those oxygens are present in that apex. As simple as that. So we said oxygens are good at inhibiting bad things. You all know birds being dormant is not something good. So the oxygens come out and break that, because it is something bad. Birds being dormant, that means they are not going to grow into branches. So that thing is not good, because branches are needed to give the plant support and so many things, cleansing the air that reaches the plant. So all that is important. So if at all you have something like bad dormancy, we really need it to be broken. And since oxygens are here to do only good things for us, they should break it. Now, you people have heard of these three things falling off a plant. You've heard of leaves falling off a plant. You've heard of flowers falling off a plant. You've heard of fruits falling off a plant. Are we together? You tell me, is that thing good or bad? Is it good or bad? Now, those people who have ever picked guavas are going to say it is good. Falling off plants. Is that thing good or bad? Of course, we are talking of it being good to the plant, not to you. Some people are saying good and bad. Okay, you're right, good and bad. But you people, you concentrate on the leaf. The leaf is something that is so important to a plant. Would it really would it really be good even at any one point for a plant to lose a leaf? You understand? There are flowers which are agents of pollination. Really, when the flower falls off, that means it's not active. That means pollination will not happen. And you know, pollination is so good that we have transfer of pollen grains from the anthers to the stigma. You understand? And that means fertilization won't even happen. So it's something that is really bad to the plant. Those things of good or bad. Okay, the bad will outweigh. So it is not something good. So the falling off of those parts of the plant, like the leaves, the flowers, the fruits, and so on, that is what they call abscission. And I told you about abscission. First write the ab, then you bring the other letters, these ones. So it first comes like that, and then it comes like this again. Okay, but now this one is the I don't know whether it's called the adjective, I don't recall. So abscission, it will be like this. But if it is abscisic, it is like this, like abscisic. But this one is abscission, so don't forget this double s. So it's a very sensitive word, right? But you need to really appreciate. So because abscission is a very bad thing, we shall need the oxygens that do good for us to come and inhibit abscission. And what is abscission? Abscission, it is leaves, flowers, and fruits falling off a plant, yet a plant needs them for reasons I've given you. Are we together? Then we go. There is a term they call senescence. You tell me the meaning of senescence in the chat. Senescence. This topic has so many nice words, but senescence is cheap. You just write the word sene and then something like this. Senescence. You see? Senescence or senescence whatsoever. You tell me the meaning of this word. Sene, like that. Senescence. Very common and very good word. You tell me in the chat, what is the synonym to that? Aging, growing older. Thank you so much. So people know this. So this is aging. So you tell me in the chat, is aging good or bad? 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 Remember, aging comes with a lot of diseases. So you cannot say aging is good. It cannot be good, because there are people who actually age when they are still young. That means that at one point, aging may be actually a disease. So since oxygens are here to do us good, they will delay aging. So when they delay aging, we really confirm that, yeah, these oxygens have really been good to us. And that is all. Okay. So I'll also tell you that even the gibberellins, the gibberellic acid, it is also very good. You understand? Yeah, very good. Very good. Just like oxygens. Just like what? Just like oxygen. So it's also going to treat us good. Of course, apart from a few things that we are going to rectify. They're supposed to make good use of the words like promoting and stimulating, which I warned you about. Okay, so when I say it is very good, that means it will inhibit meaning minus the bad things. Okay, and then what will it do? It will stimulate the good, with of course a few anomalies. By anomalies, I mean it may do things you may not expect, and you should be okay with that. So before I even go through these things of gibberellins, I think someone called Maria wants to say something. Yes, talk to
Sir,
us before we
like,
proceed. Yes.
I don't know if I'm confusing these 2 points of oxygens promoting apical dominance and it stimulating cell elongation. To me, I think if we say that the apical dominance, that is already cell growth, right? Now again, how
Yes,
is
I'm
it
listening.
stimulating cell? How is it again stimulating cell elongation? Yet already the plant is growing, there is cell division around the apex. How is it again stimulating? Yet already there is dominance that the cells are growing on their own.
I've told you that apical dominance and cell elongation don't now mix the two. Look at them as different. The apical dominance part, look at it inhibiting the shoot branching, and then look at elongation on its own. I don't know whether you're getting me. Look at elongation at its own, then look at apical dominance as a phenomenon where shoot branching is actually inhibited. Then look at the points like this. One is about inhibiting shoot branching, but under the phenomenon of apical dominance. Then the other is about cell elongation under the phenomenon of just cell growth, or as a stage of cell growth. As simple as that. Don't even mix the two. Hope I've answered you. So we go through the GBA, the gibberellic acid. The other thing I forgot to tell you that this topic you're supposed to do more of the reading. So you do more of the reading. So there are a lot of things. So you just see to make sure they make sense. Then after you go and read on your own. Are we together? So where are these ones really made? Remember, this one was actually the part of the plant where we are having the site of production. So we said for the oxygens, it was in the apical meristems. I don't know whether people know the apical meristems. So I actually forgot to tell you this, but you saw it here in the picture. Do you see where the apical meristems are? They are still in the apices, in the tips. So meristem is just simply meaning that's where active cell division is happening. But we shall see that under plant growth. But when you see meristem, just think of actively dividing cells. That's all you're supposed to think about, nothing else. Hope I've talked about apical meristems. There are meristems in the apices, and meristems are simply groups of mitotically dividing cells. Nothing much. So gibberellins, they are saying that these ones promote cell elongation in stems. This is very key, and they do this in presence of what? Oxygens. So the moment oxygens are present, cell elongation will be promoted in stems by gibberellic acid, or Ga. You should know that. Do you see that you're supposed to just read and master these things? Because most of the things are being talked about. Then GBA will also stimulate apical dominance still in presence of what? Oxygens. So you realize that's why I told you that it's just like what? Oxygens. In that in most of the cases, when oxygens are present, it can do the same thing. So it just copies what oxygens are doing when they are already there. So it just enhances it. Stimulates seed germination. You all know that germination is good. And we know that gibberellin is supposed to be also good to us. Then, remember I told you that when it is in too much concentration, it may end up inhibiting root growth. And I told you that it is strictly roots, so you're supposed to be in position to remember that as far as inhibiting growth is concerned, it is that root part. those roots, and it happens when these hormones are in high concentration, because they are best, or they work best when they are present in low concentration. Why? Anything of, okay, too much of anything is always what? Bad. Now, stimulating growth of internodes. I don't know whether people know internodes. You see here they talked of elongation in stems, and most of you know that stems, like the stem of a sugar cane, or the stem of maize, you know that they have those things. Do you know those things? So at this point is what they call the node. Even this one is called the node. Of course, I mean this. This is what they call the node. Even this is the node. So this region between the two is what they call the internode. So if at all this stem is to elongate, that means even those internodes are supposed to elongate. Are we together? So when you see something like stimulating growth of internodes, just look at it like they are promoting cell elongation in stems. But you're supposed to look at those words, where is stimulation, where is promotion, and then you capture them very well. And with your curriculum, you should have a lot of content. Yeah. For you to really scoop a lot of scores. Now, they are talking of something here. I told you that you just be surprised that there will be a few anomalies. Yes, we have said there will be like auxins by inhibiting the bad things and promoting or stimulating the good ones. A few anomalies may come in. For example, this part of the promotion of lateral bud growth, or lateral branching, or shoot branching, which is kind of different from that of auxins, but you should appreciate it. Then delaying leaf senescence, just like auxins. Ending dormancy, that is both bud and seed dormancy. Hope you people know seed dormancy. But the moment you say that a bud is dormant, that means this bud doesn't want to grow into a branch. When you say that a seed is dormant, that means that this seed doesn't want to germinate even when you have provided it with the favorable conditions. That's what they mean. And these things are very bad. So since gibberellins are supposed to be very good, they are supposed to come in. You get the point? So this thing of promoting lateral branching, it is something good, but it is just in opposite with what auxins do, but it is very good. So that means gibberellins are still very good. Okay. What is the other thing about gibberellins? They stimulate flowering. Remember, we shall cover flowering together, but here they are specifying that in strictly the long day plants. We realize that under photoperiodism, as I teach flowering, we shall tell you that they are what we call the long day plants. Then we have what we call the short day plants. So gibberellins, for them, they stimulate flowering in the long day plants. How I used to capture that as a student by then, I used to be like, gibberellins is a very long word. That means if they are to stimulate flowering, it will be in the long day what? In the long day plants. Just that. Hope we are together. Then they affect leaf expansion and shape. And I think we talked about that. Of course, they are growth substances, so they are supposed to be related to anything that connects to growth. Now, as far as abscisic acid is concerned, this one I told you it is very bad. Yeah, this one is very bad. Very bad. Very bad. And by very bad, that means it will stimulate bad things. Yes, it will stimulate the bad things, but you see it again inhibiting the good ones. That's how bad it is. It will be stimulating the bad things, and it will be inhibiting the good ones. Someone is writing in our screen, they should behave. So the site of production, they are saying widespread. So for the abscisic acid is not like these ones of gibberellic acid that are produced in apical leaves, bud, seeds, root tips, like the auxins that are produced in the apical meristems. Their site of production is a bit widespread. And I've told you, they will promote or stimulate the bad things, and they will actually inhibit the good ones. For example, stomatoclosure, you may not tell whether it's good or nice. It is good for the stomata to be open so that we can have exchange of gases, because the plant needs carbon dioxide to photosynthesize, things like that. It needs oxygen to actually do what? Respire. You get the point? That means closing the stomata is not something really nice. But you see this abscisic acid, the bad guy, is ending up promoting everything. So I think you get that. we are talking of stem growth. Stem growth is growth, so growth should be something good, but the abscisic acid ends up doing what? Inhibiting it. Root growth is something good, but the abscisic acid ends up what? Inhibiting it. Get the point? We say that the bud and seed dormants are bad things, but then the abscisic acid is promoting them. Leaf senescence is leaf aging. We said aging is not good, but the abscisic acid is what promoting it. So for it to just come and promote all the bad things and inhibit the good ones, that's abscisic acid. Auxins will do the nice things. Then gibberellins will do the good things in presence of auxins, and it will also do good ones on its own. You understand? Then it will come and promote abscission. We said abscission is bad because the leaves, the flowers, the fruits are falling off, yet the plant needs them. But this abscisic acid stupidly comes and promotes them. But you will find out that maybe in one way or the other, even that abscission is very important. But we shall see that under maybe the technique of abscission. Hope people are getting me. As we scroll, let's hear from Benji. Yes, Benji, because I don't want anyone to be left behind.
Yes, good evening, doctor.
Yes.
As you said, abscisic acid, it is on a widespread and has a function of stomata closure. Were you meaning that there's already, let me say, let me relate it to the guard cells, whereby they contract and relax in order to avoid the opening or to regulate the opening and closure of the stomata.
What is your question? You've not asked anything.
Okay, my question is that
And
this
the
acid
point
that
of
you're talking
correction,
about,
and the point of correction, the guard cells never relax or contract. That doesn't exist because they don't have muscles.
okay, thank you about that. But
So
I
the
was
thing is,
also
they either
asking,
become tugged. You can either use words like tugged and flaccid because they are plant cells. Then in animal cells, we use words like hemolyzed, and the other one is crenating. But those things
yes.
you learn them. Don't worry. Shrinking, getting hemolyzed. Then in plant cells, we have the flaccid, or someone can say plasmolyzed, and then we have the
So,
flaccid. So what's your question?
so maybe you can pardon me about the acid. Does it promote stomata closure or inhibit stomata closure?
And we said it's supposed to promote bad things. I said stomatoclosure is something bad because we need to have
Yes.
exchange of gases. The plant needs carbon dioxide to photosynthesize. It needs oxygen to actually, you get the point.
Yes, I realize that. Yes.
Transpiration should happen because it cools the plant and it has so many importances. So that means
Yes,
closing it is
yes.
something very bad, and abscisic acid is good at promoting bad things.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Then let's hear from Nodrin. Yes, Nodrin. Nodrin, you can unmute. Yes, speak. Yes, Nodrin, your mic is unmuted. You speak. Yes, Bright. I think Nodrin should put her request in the chat and someone should read it for her. Yes, Bright.
Doctor, for the sake of stomata closure, because on the other hand, it's kind of important during respiration.
Yes, but the bad of stomatoclosure outweighs the good, so it makes it bad. You understand?
I get it then.
Yes. So look at the outweighing part.
All right, so thank
Okay. So remember, I told you that Gibberellins is a very long word when you just look at it. So it will stimulate flowering in the long day plants. So abscisic acid will do the difference. Sorry for that. It will do the opposite. And for it will promote flowering in short day plants. Now, I left this thing, I put a space there. I want people to go and read textbooks to confirm the effect of abscisic acid. Yes, the effect of abscisic acid ABA to flowering in the long day plants. I want to see if people read textbooks. There's something interesting about that part. Though flowering is a topic on its own, so we shall see it again. But I want people to go and have that as research. But at least you're sure in short day it is promoted. And then for Gibberellins, so your research is to go and find out what it really does to the long day plants as far as flowering is concerned. Now we have these cytokinins. These cytokinins they are not so bad, because first and foremost they are good at cell division, because I told you that this one really comes from a certain step called cytokinesis, which I taught in cell division. So it happens in cell division, and cell division is something good. So in most of the cases you see these cytokinins doing good things. This one is supposed to be cytokinesis, the process that happens during cell division. Cytokinesis. Cyto for cell, kinesis for motion. Cytokines is something different. We shall learn it in transport in humans as we talk about the immune system, okay? These ones are called cytokinins. I don't know if I've been pronouncing it the right way. If I've been saying cytokines, I think I'll beg your pardon on that from the beginning. Cytokines are different. They are studied in immune system under transport in humans. And then cytokinins, they are the ones we study here. And the name comes from cytokinesis, which is in cell division. So important. Now, these ones come from meristems, and meristems, I told you, they are just actively dividing, or actively mitotically dividing. So they are active and they are dividing mitotically. So they are key for cell growth, but strictly cell division, because we are talking of active mitosis. Hope you people don't get confused by the word mitosis. It just means division, or it's just a form of cell division, nothing much. And I've told you that this thing is also very good. The cytokines are very good. It is just that abscisic acid that is known for being very bad. But the rest try their level best to really do something nice. Are you together? So you can see they also promote cell division when oxygens are present. They stimulate sprouting. Why was this word used? Sprouting is something to mean like a proliferating, or okay, it's like coming out, emerging, growing very nicely, things like that. Since they are talking of lateral buds, I will use emerging. So sprouting is like to emerge. So those lateral buds really come out, like they sprout out, they emerge out. And you know that since apical dominance is the one that stops those lateral buds from sprouting, from emerging out, that means it has been removed. If at all they come out. Are we together? It inhibits senescence of leaves. Remember, we said it is also very good. So it will break the dormancy, it will promote leaf growth, it will promote stomata opening, it will promote fruit growth. You understand? But it will do this without parthenocopy. You tell me in the chat if you know parthenocopy, don't copy. If you know it, you raise up your hand. But if you don't know, you tell me, doctor, I don't know. But it is also some good word. Parthenocopy, 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 parthenocopy. People usually get confused about these two arrows, the arrow that sits there and the arrow that sits there. So have it in mind, there are two arrows there. Never forget any, because most of the cases people think one place has arrow, the other doesn't, and yet in actual sense both have the R. So parthenocopy. Who knows parthenocopy? Yes, Acrod. Parthenocopy. You tell us about parthenocopy.
Doctor and the other guys. For me, what I know about parthenocopy is like it is fruit formation in absence of fertilization.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Parthenocopy, we are forming a fruit without actually having fertilization. Fruit formation without fertilization. Now, those of you who went to very good primary schools, I have some simple questions for you here. I want someone who can raise up their hand and define for us, what is a seed? Do you remember when we used to define these things in primary? What is a seed? And what is a fruit? We used to talk of these things in primary. Let me see those who went to good primary schools. What is a seed? Don't copy, but tell me, what is a seed? Yes, Nodrin, but Nodrin, you unmute, but you don't speak. When the moment you press unmute, you just speak. We are hearing you. Again, the person is not speaking. Yes, Akrod, since you began the parthenocarpy, you complete it. So what is a seed?
Yes, doctor. What I can remember is like a seed is a fertilized ovule.
Yes,
Then a
fertilized
fruit.
ovule. Then a fruit.
A fruit is a fertilized seed.
A fertilized seed.
Fertilized ovum. Ovary.
Yes, ovary. You see? Yeah, I think I can really tell that, yeah, you are trying to remember primary work. And that is so good. Force yourself to remember something at least. So for the fruit, it is a fertilized ovary. Then for us, they used to add for us something and tell us it is a fertilized and mature, fertilized and mature. But the fertilized part was very important. So if we didn't have fertilization, but we ended up with the fruit, so chances are high that the seeds were not formed. So I want to tell you that these fruits are usually seedless. Yeah, usually seedless. So I want you to be very good students, so that in case the scenario is coming and somewhere they are talking of seedless fruits, you think of parthenocarpy. You'd be like, oh, parthenocarpy, yes, we have the fruit already, but we didn't have fertilization. So if a seed is a fertilized ovule, that means we actually don't have seeds in that fruit. And you people, you know so many fruits that don't have seeds. So those are fruits that really came up as a result of what? Parthenocarpy. So can you tell me some of the parthenocarpic fruits? Who knows some of the parthenocarpic fruits? Who can tell me any? Those fruits without seeds. Who knows any? Who knows any? Who knows any? Because you never know, they can set. After all, parthenocarpy is coming in at one point in the work we are supposed to cover. Someone is saying some oranges. Can that be an example? Banana, thank you, Emanuela. Banana, I expected that to be the first example. Banana, correct. Another one. Hey, you people, you even heard of coconut seeds, but you're telling me coconut. You tell me. Do we have seeds in pineapples? That's the first example I even expected. Do we have seeds in pineapples? Have you ever seen any? Have you ever seen any seeds in pineapples? You can tell me if you have ever. But me, I've never. Personally. So it's very important. Okay. So as far as those fruits are concerned, the very first one I expected bananas. So bananas are formed by parthenocarpy. Then the others are pineapples. I've never seen any seeds there. Then someone was like some oranges, which is right. So those ones are called the seedless oranges. But basically those two, you can have those two. They're enough. Okay. Someone has said sugar cane. Okay. I didn't know. You people are very funny. Okay. Let's go to ethene, or what we called ethylene. So you can say ethene, and I told you ethylene. So this is okay, even this is okay. So this one will be produced in most plant organs. So one thing that I want you to appreciate or know, that every time you see ethylene or ethene, think of one thing: fruit ripening. Fruit ripening. That one is so important. Fruit what? Fruit ripening. Just think of that. Every time you see ethylene, ethene, these people are interested in the fruit ripening thing. So, stimulating fruit ripening, I'll come and put a tick. That is obvious. Stimulate senescence and falling off of leaves. You see, this one is kind of weird. So it is doing something that is bad. So ethylene, yes, it is doing some sort of a fruit ripening, which is good, but it has both good and bad. So with this one, you're supposed to be very careful. So ethylene, in most of the cases, it is both good and bad. So it will confuse you, but at least appreciate the fact that fruit ripening belongs to ethylene. Yeah, and not any other. So ethylene, so it is both good and bad. For example, look at here, it is stimulating senescence, which is aging, which is bad. So this is a bad thing. But again, it is promoting flowering, which is something good. It is inhibiting root and shoot growth, which is bad. But again, it is breaking dormancy, though for certain plants, but it is good. So it's supposed to be very careful. Yeah, it does the bad, but it also does the good. That is ethylene for you. But for stimulating fruit ripening, that should be something you should take serious. They like it so much. So ethylene, I think, Nodrin, you start writing your concerns in the chat, then someone will be reading them off here for you. Now we go to the commercial applications. Let me tell you people, the most important part of the class is done. And thank you for staying on. Thank you for being this much. That is so good. So you can see that we have at least tried to discuss the role that is played by most of our hormones. So we just have a few things to do, that is interactions, commercial applications, and then we leave this place. Yeah. So we go. Commercial applications are going to be very obvious, and they're going to be just in line with what we have been discussing. Okay. Now look here. Gibberellins are used to produce seedless fruits. That means they help in what? Parthenocapy. Then they are still talking of gibberellins, and what are they saying? That in the brewing industry, we always need to turn starch into maltose. Those of you who have ever taken that local alcohol they take in villages, I know most of you have done that, especially my people from the east. Yeah. So you know what I mean. So we need an enzyme called alpha amylase. So that alpha amylase is good at converting starch to maltose, and that is so important in making local brew or even other brews. So it is so important in breweries. And who can help us stimulate the alpha amylase? It is the gibberellins. Don't forget that they also help us to produce what? Seedless fruits. I know that this topic you should just make sure whatever you read will make sense, but it needs a lot of reading in that you can forget anything at the end. So remember, there is that term dwarfism. Dwarfism is like failing to grow, something like that. So if at all the gibberellins are good at promoting growth, that means they can really help us with reversing those things of dwarfism. I know that you understand. So gibberellins can reverse those things of dwarfism in a lot of dwarf varieties, because dwarfism is failing to grow. Something to do with retarded growth. So gibberellins, since they stimulate growth, cell elongation, something like that, they can reverse all those things. Cytokinins, we know that these ones are very good, so they can prolong the life of fresh leaf vegetables like cabbages. Some of you really get surprised and be like, how do those big supermarkets sell these things for some good time without them getting spoiled? They use these plant growth substances, in that fresh leaf vegetables like cabbages can be kept for some good time and they are not getting spoiled. You understand? Yeah. Then what else? Cytokinins, we say they are good so they can break seed dormancy, so it's also a commercial application. Okay. Then we have so many here. Abscisic acid, this one does only bad things. So the moment it's sprayed on crops, we can have fruit fall happening. We know that ethylene does both good and bad, but it is so special concerning ripening fruits. So in case we have fruits that have refused to become actually ripe, it can help us with the ripening. And the moment they are ripe, they are ready for market. For example, tomatoes, oranges, lemons, and etc. You get? So ethylene does not stop on ripening, but it also induces flowering. And here they are specifying that in strictly what? Pineapples. So supposed to also respect that. This that it needs a lot of reading for you to capture those anomalies. Okay? Now here they are talking of auxins. Remember, I told you that the moment these oxygens are in high concentration, and these oxygens usually get highly concentrated in dicots. Why in dicots? Dicots usually have broad leaves. And because the leaves are broad, that means they can concentrate a lot of oxygens. And we said once oxygens are in high concentration, or whatever, whenever any plant hormone is in high concentration, too much of anything is bad, they can end up becoming killers. But in this case, they are called selective weed killers. Get the point? There is that selective weed killer they usually put in exams, and trust me, one day, one time you really come across it, and it is called 2,4-D, like that. You understand? I want you to go to Google right now because I think they'll give it to you. It is the most common one. You go to Google and ask it which oxygen is the most common selective weed killer. If it is known to 4D, then I'm going to give each of you 50,000. Each of you, I'm going to give you 50,000. I don't know what your phones really have, but deep down, I'm sure that if you ask Google which one is the most common selective weed killer, it will give you the 2,4-D, whereby the D is the dichloro. D is standing for dichloro, unless I've forgotten the chemistry, but I remember phenoxyacetic acid. Dichlorophenoxy. I think I'm writing this poorly. You ask Google which synthetic oxygen, because it is just made, as you can see, it is synthetic. So you can ask it which synthetic oxygen is a known, almost common selective weed killer. They'll give you the dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. It is there in biological science, it is there in Clegg, and so many. So the 2,4-D, the 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid, is it what they are bringing you? I think that's what they are bringing. So that is it. So you need to be knowing it so that when you see it somewhere in a scenario, you think of selective weed killing. And this is, of course, a synthetic oxygen. Why synthetic? It is just made, because you can even see it has a chemical name. That means it is synthetically made in the lab. Why is it common in dicots? They have very, very broad leaves, so they can concentrate those oxygens, and they be present in very high concentration, in that they are very toxic. So that is a synthetic oxygen. Are we together? And now we go. Oxygens are used to prevent premature. You know, oxygens are supposed to do good things. So we don't have premature fruit fall in case they are present. Synthetic oxygens, synthetic oxygens, synthetic oxygens. So they are also supposed to be doing good things. So in line with the gibberellic acid, which also does good things, they can promote fruit setting, like fruit formation, fruits starting to come out. Are we together? Then they promote rooting, like root formation in stem cuttings. I don't know if people have ever seen that. In case a certain stem is cut and isolated, it may end up growing its own roots again. So who really promotes that rooting in stem cuttings? It is the synthetic oxygens. Are we together? You know that sprouting, we talked of emerging. Okay, we said sprouting is something nice in plants. Maybe emerging, proliferating, something like that. So since it's nice, since it's nice, we would expect oxygens to do the needful by promoting it. But don't be shocked like how we have it here and it is inhibited. But remember, they are synthetic. Being synthetic, that means they can be modified in one way or the other. So these are all things that you need to be knowing. But you really need to read them and understand. So that when they ask commercial application, remember they were here in the syllabus book. So it is something we are really working on. It's here. They needed the commercial applications of those plant hormones, and we have covered them as well. So what we are really remaining with is the interactions, and then maybe a few processes, and then the comparison between the plant hormones and animal hormones. And then we end the class. The rest of the things I told you, there shall be our next stops next time. Are we together? We go. What next? What next? Oxygens and apical dominance. So I told you already about apical dominance. So I believe you know, yeah? So we are going to be just going through, we are just going to go through it faster. So what is it? Apical dominance, we inhibit the growth of lateral buds. Don't you know that? And why is it so? It's because of the high concentration of what? Oxygens. And where are these oxygens? They're in the apical bud, or apical tip, or shoot apex. Isn't it what we said? But what could be the ecological significance of the apical dominancy of those lateral buds being inhibited growth-wise, and then the shoot elongating and elongating? So when they talk of ecological, I want you to always be thinking about survival. So when they say ecological, think about what? Survival. Are we together? What are they saying? They are saying that this apical dominance will allow the shoot to grow vertically upwards, and it will become so tall in that it's going to become taller than so many plants. So the moment it's taller than many plants, it will be the one accessing the most sufficient light because it will be on top of all other plants. So because of this sufficient light, it will be getting, it will have the best fresh air. That means it will have the most efficient gaseous exchange. So photosynthesis will be very perfect, and even other plant processes you get. And because it is very tall or taller than many plants, the competition for light shall really be reduced. And that means that it will really survive, or it will have higher chances of what? Surviving. Do people get it? Apical dominancy looks at eliminating without actually growing these buds. Are we together? So when something grows too highly, that means at a greater height or at very great heights, it's going to be taller than so many of the plants. So as the sun is sending in the light will first reach that plant. As the atmospheric gases really reach the plants, it will be the one to receive first, and it will have very limited or even no competition because it is taller than so many. That means it will have to survive because all plant processes shall be moving on smoothly. But the answer to it in an exam, you have it in the notes, but understand something at least. Okay? And when it grows, and when it grows and it becomes so tall, by the time it starts to flower, the flowers shall be easily exposed to agents. Remember, agents are not only man, but there is also wind. And of course, if wind is to blow, it will begin on those very tall plants. Don't you know that wind easily blows those ones that are tall? Because the other that are short, if there are too many, they're even compact. It's even hard for wind to blow them. You understand? And then also the fruits and seeds, they will be exposed to dispersing agents or dispersal agents because the plant is tall, yeah? So it's like in its own community with very limited what? Competition for pollinating agents and dispersal agents. So the exposure shall actually be increased. And then of course pollinating is good, dispersal is good. Don't you remember all level where you were taught the advantages of pollination, advantages of seed dispersal? You all know those things. So that is the ecological significance. When it is asked, you have the answers straight, and they are very correct. Okay? Mechanism of apical dominance. What actually happens? You know all these things, so we are just really saying whatever was said already. They are saying that lateral buds remain dormant until the apical bud is removed. Remember, it is the apical bud producing the auxins, which auxins are keeping this shoot to go higher and higher as growth of of lateral buds or the auxiliary buds is being inhibited. That means it is not until you remove that apical bud keeping the auxins that are maintaining the apical dominance that the lateral buds will now really be activated. I don't know if you're getting. The apical bud is the one having auxins, and the auxins are the ones that are really making this apical dominance to stay. Like the shoot is going higher and higher and higher. You understand? So it's not until you cut off the apical bud that now we shall not have auxins, that now we shall not have further elongation, that now the lateral buds will now become active, and then they will develop into what? Side branches. Are we together? That once the apical bud is removed, once it's removed, we shall have the lateral buds growing into what? Side branches. Something that is so important. Are we together? And this is the principle that is lying behind the pruning. Most of you have been hearing pruning, but you don't know why pruning is done. You understand? Let me show you something here on pruning. Pruning video. Let me see if they'll bring me that video. Pruning video. You see how pruning is done. As they are pruning, you realize which type of pruning have I put. Let me see. This is so good. So in pruning, let's watch this video and see. I want you to look at all those videos of pruning. I want you to notice what these people are doing. Are you seeing what this man is doing? Are you seeing what he has done? Do you see the upper thing he has removed? Now that is like something apical. You see? Removing those. Are you seeing what the man is going to do? That thing. Are you seeing that thing is removing? Now that's like the apical bud. Now when he removes that apical bud, we believe that now the axons are gone, so we shall not have further what? Elongation, and now the terminal branches will have to grow. Do people get it finally? I don't know. Have you tried to pick something? Let me first stop the video. You people, have you realized what the man was doing? Did you see the man trying to cut off those things? I don't know if I've been watching the video alone or I've been actually watching the video with people. Did you realize what I'm talking about? No, people were actually sleeping. Okay, so that is it. So it's the principle that is lining pruning. That in pruning, what they concentrate on is removing the apical bud, so that more sorry, I don't know why I'm liking the word terminal, so that more lateral branches can actually grow. So when so many lateral branches grow, the plant will be a bit bushy, just like that plant you saw. You can look at it again. It was a bit bushy. The other plant behind the man, that's what they mean. They call a bushy plant. It's having a lot of lateral branches, so the plant is a bit bushy. And how is that done? Cut off the apical bud. You have removed auxins. No more elongation, no more inhibition of lateral bud growth. So we shall have the shoot branching happening, and the shoot branching will make the plant a bit bushy. Simple as that. So we say that cytokinins are very good ones. So when they tell us they stimulate lateral bud growth, we can't be surprised. Are we together? Now what next? What next? What next? They're saying that auxins from the intact apical meristem inhibit growth of lateral buds. Don't you know that? So what are they saying? The moment you remove the apical bud, now the cytokinins will come in and do what? Stimulate the growth of lateral buds into branches. Do you get it? So that means even if the cytokinins are around, but the apical bud is still there, the auxins will dominate, because you've realized that they lead most of these plant activities. They lead most of them. So that means cytokinins will also have to wait for auxins to be removed. How? By cutting off of the apical bud. Then they can also do their thing. That when the auxins were present, they were inhibiting lateral bud growth, so they were not allowing branches to come out. So the moment the bud is removed, auxins are gone. So cytokinins come in to allow now growth of the what? Of the branches. But then guess what? When that apical bud is removed, like when you saw that man cutting it off, remember he can now add on the auxins that are synthetic. The moment he adds those auxins to the cut surface, my dear, you may end up seeing again axillary bud growth being suppressed, like apical dominance gets back. Do you get it? Yes, you have removed the apical bud, but from the cut surface you've re-added the auxins. Trust me, apical dominance is going to be back, and lateral bud growth is going to be resuppressed. You will have done nothing. So in case you're reading a scenario and then they mention that yes, the apical bud was cut off, but auxins later added to the cut surface, have it in mind, apical dominance will be back, elongation will further happen, and suppression of the axillary bud growth will actually still be present. Do you get the point? Okay, we go. Now this is the fruit ripening stuff. Now this is the most interesting concept in biology. Very nice. Very nice. So we are supposed to only do the fruit ripening, then we come and do abscission. Abscission is also very nice. Okay. Then after the abscission, I think we shall have to do the interactions, and after interactions, we are going to have a table. You see, these are interactions, and they are very cheap. Then after we shall just have the table, which table will be comparing plant and animal thing, and then the next thing shall be tropisms. And I told you this shall be our next stop. So that means we are about to end the class. I told you that we are not supposed to be here beyond midnight, and it is just 11. That means we are still here for about 5 minutes. Yeah, in 5 minutes we shall be off here. The legends know my 5 minutes. Okay, let's go through the ripening. So we said that who really dominates this ripening, or who owns this ripening? I told you that this ripening is actually owned by the ethene or the ethylene. But guess what? The process does not start with it. The process starts with auxins. So it is auxins that make the fruit to make the ethene, that you're getting. So the fruit is there and it has refused to actually ripe. So auxins come and first make it to produce the ethene on its own. The unripe fruit, it's the one that produces the ethene. Now the ethene comes and starts on the process of making the fruit ripe. And most of you know these things that are characteristic of the ripe fruits. I know most of you have looked at a mango that is raw or unripe and the mango that is ripe. All of you have looked at a banana that is raw or a banana that is unripe and the one that is ripe. You first tell me, which one is green? The raw? Which one is the green? I want us to be doing these things together. Of the raw and ripe banana, which one is green? Which one is green? The raw. Thank you so much. Of the two, which one is softer? Of the raw and ripe, which one is softer? Of the raw and ripe, which one is softer? Of the raw and ripe, which one is softer? Oh, you people are very good biologists. Okay, that is enough. Of the two, which one has a sweet smell? Of the raw and ripe, which one has a sweet smell? Which one has a sweet smell? Of the ripe and raw, which one has a sweet smell? Which one is sweet? Which one is sweet? You tell me which one is sweet? Which one is sweet? A sweet smell is different from sweet. Now, the sweet I mean is the sweet taste. The way people are enjoying those simple questions. Which is sweet? Which one is softer? Which one is green? So those are the questions you want to be set in scenarios. You want item writers to tell you which of the following fruits is green. Raw or ripe? Which one is softer? Raw or ripe? Which one is sweeter? Raw or ripe? Which one has a sweeter scent? Those are the things you want. They can't set those things. Now let's talk about the real biology. So, I want you to tell me in the chat. You tell me in the chat who begins the process of ripening. Is it auxins or ethene? Write in the chat. Who begins the process of ripening? Is it ethene or the auxins? Who begins the process of ripening? Is it auxins or ethene? Thank you so much. It is auxins. So these auxins are the ones that make the raw fruit to produce ethene. And then this ethene is responsible for what? For making the raw fruit ripe. I don't know whether you're getting me. So let's see how the ethene is really going to do all this. So we are saying that the moment the auxin or the auxins are produced, they will stimulate the raw fruit to make the ethene. Then this ethene will hasten, like it will fasten, like it will stimulate the ripening of that fruit. And it does that by increasing or rapidly increasing the rate of respiration. Please put that in mind. If at all you find issues with this thing, you can help me and read a BS and FA. BS and FA, combine them and learn about ethylene. But all the information from those two is just here. Oh, this information I teach is information from textbooks. I don't know if you're aware. Very good notes. That's why I never give them out, because I want you to rewrite them and master them as well, not just printing texted work. You will not understand it. You understand most work you write on your own. Okay, now ethylene causes a rapid increase in the rate of respiration for the raw fruit. And what is this going to cause? It is going to cause hydrolysis of complex carbohydrates like starch into sugars. So these sugars are the ones that are sweet. Who doesn't know that sugar is sweet? So that's why ripe fruits are sweet, or they are sweeter than the raw ones. Why? The auxins made the fruit produce ethene. The ethene stimulated the ripening by increasing the rate of respiration. The respiration led to hydrolysis of complex carbohydrates like starch into sugars. Now the sugars made the ripe fruit sweeter than the raw one. Are we together? Then that increased rate of respiration is also going to cause breakdown of chlorophyll. You all know that chlorophyll is green, but you all know in most of the cases the ripe fruits lose the green color. That means in the process of the fruit becoming ripe, chlorophyll is broken down. That's why the green color is lost to colors like red, orange, those things. Who remembers the type of organelles that I told you that are really responsible? Whether they are organelles, whether they are cells, okay, who remembers that word that I told you that is in line with giving the fruits and flowers color? I taught you that in cytology. Yes, Serunjoji.
Carotenoids. They are
Okay.
called carotenoids.
Okay. Yes, you have tried. You have tried. But there is a word I want. But you have tried. But I will tell you the real meaning of the carotenoids when we reach nutrition in plants. Yes, Bright.
Yeah, doctor, they are chromatophores.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What if me I say they are chromoplasts?
Yeah, those ones. I've forgotten.
But you've said chromatophores.
Chloroplasts.
Yeah, you see? That means people don't read. But it's okay. You need to watch all those classes and get very good biology. Let me tell you, if you combine the biology we have in cytology, chemicals of life, and the one we are going to add in nutrition, respiration, and then this coordination, it is enough for you to get an of biology. Enough if you write whatever I say. Okay, so breakdown of chlorophyll, hope it has been understood. Then that respiration still, it's going to cause softening of cell walls. And when the cell walls really soften, remember plant cells have cell walls, and we are talking of plants here. Of course, fruits belong to a plant, so even cells of the fruit will have cell walls. So when they soften, the whole fruit will soften, and this is due to the action of pectinases. Who can relate the action of pectinases to softening of cell walls? I give you 50,000, provided you raise up your hand in the next 10 seconds. That is 2 seconds. Those are 4 seconds. Those are 6 seconds. Those are 8 seconds. And those are 10 seconds. None of you is raising up their hand. You see, I've actually counted the seconds at a faster rate than you could type in AI. Who can relate action of pectinases to softening of cell walls? I told you that. I think I didn't. But I think I just said it, but it wasn't in the notes of eukaryotes. But it is something that I really had to tell you. So this is it. The cell walls, okay, let me ask you. If at all the enzyme is called pectinase, hope you people are aware that when you see something like this, it is an enzyme, like amylase, peptidase, most of the enzymes, they have this ending. But we shall study that in chemicals of life, and we shall see the classification of enzymes. We shall see the liases, we shall see the hydroxylases, we shall see the oxidoreductases, and a lot of things like the ligases, the isomerases. So you see that all of them will be ending in what? In "ase" for singular and "ases" for plural. So when you see pectinase, it is an enzyme. Peptidase, it is an enzyme. Penicillase is an enzyme. And I think we saw that in cytology. So this is the thing. And let me ask you, if the enzyme is pectinase, what is it breaking down? Tell me in the chat. Because when it is called peptidase, it breaks down peptides. Peptides. If it's peptidase, it breaks down peptides. If it's penicillase, it breaks down penicillin. I don't know whether people are aware. If it is maltase, it breaks down maltose. How people are telling me pectinin? Someone is telling me renin. It's called they're called pectinases. That means what they break down is pectin. So someone may be like, where is this pectin? So this pectin is in cell walls. So these cell walls have a component called pectin. Those who attended the lesson of microscopy, you tell me the nature of this pectin, because it is ending. Okay, you tell me the nature of pectin with the reason why with the reason of that nature. Those who attended microscopy, what did I say about those things that end in in? What did I say? Yes, Bright. What did I say about those things that end in in?
Yes, doctor, you said that they are proteins
They are proteins. Why proteins?
because of the IN in protein and in those INs.
Thank you so much. Because of the IN that comes at the end of what? Of protein. So all those things of pectin, you find so many. Suberin, albumin, globulin, most of them. The moment you see that IN, just know they have that protein part. If it's not a protein, at least there should be a protein part in the structure, at least. So these pectinases will break down this pectin in the cell walls, and of course the cell walls will have to what? To soften. They will have no option other than what? Softening. Are we together? Now, still, the rapid rise in the rate of respiration will lead to another thing, and that is production of volatile aromatic compounds. I myself, I taught you aromatic compound, that is benzene and methylbenzene. When you go to your drive, you check term 3 senior 5 and check for topic 6b, that is organic chemistry part 1b, where I taught benzene and methylbenzene in 6.2. Yeah, I think 6.3. Yeah, I think 6.4. 6.4, that's where benzene is. Yeah. So I introduced aromaticity, and I told you that they are called aromatic compounds because of this word aroma. And you all know that aroma means a sweet smell. So when you see something, when you see aromatic, think of aroma, and when you see aroma, think of a sweet smell. So when you see volatile, think of something that can go into vapor, something that can vaporize. So it's like, don't mind okay, that's the meaning of volatile, but here we are strictly looking at aromatic, because we talked of these fruits, or the fruits that have actually, or that are ripe, being with a very sweet smell. You understand? And they are telling you, as this ethene increases rapidly, the rate of respiration, we are having production of those aromatic compounds that are volatile. Volatile in that they are in position to vaporize. That's why you're even in position to feel the smell, that it is actually sweet. Though yeah, they say it's scent and flavor, but it is actually sweet. Now, in organic chemistry, I've told you that the aromatic compounds are taught in organic chemistry. Now, among all those homologous series, most of biology students do chemistry, so don't complain. And I taught you this in organic chemistry introduction, which we are supposed to watch today, and most of you never watched. So among all these homologous series, you tell me which ones are actually sweet. We have alkanes. Which ones have a sweet smell? We have alkanes, alkynes, alkynes, alkyl halides. We have benzene. We have methylbenzene. We have alcohols. We have phenols. We have carbonyl compounds. Those are the aldehydes and ketones. We are having carboxylic acids. We are having esters. We are having amines. You tell me, among all those, which ones do you think are really sweet? Have you ever heard of any of those that are sweet and they told you that this is sweet? I've said alkanes, alkenes, alkynes, alkyl halides, benzene, alcohol, phenols, carbonyl compounds, those are the aldehydes and ketones, carboxylic acids, esters, and amines. Have you ever heard of any of those and they tell you that they are sweet? Have you heard of any? I think Brayton has ever, because Brayton has said esters. So it's the esters that have that sweet smell. So have it in mind that one of those volatile aromatic compounds that are being produced by this ripe fruit, or as a result of the ethene, it is the esters. So have it in mind, those fruits that have that sweet smell produce esters at one point. But you don't need that content, but just have it in mind. Just mention the word aromatic, because the aroma part will be included and you'll be on a safe side. So let me close this and then tell you again, okay, that if at all you're to make the fruit ripe, what you need first, they are the auxins. So these auxins will make the raw fruit produce ethene. So this ethene is supposed to bring the ripening, but it begins with increasing the rate of what? Respiration. So when it increases the rate of respiration, the rate of respiration is responsible for bringing all the characteristics of a fruit that is ripe. And to begin with, guess what? You all know how ripe fruits really look like. First and foremost, they lose the green color and get other bright colors like red and orange. That means there is breakdown of chlorophyll. You understand? That was mentioned. Then they are supposed to be sweet. You understand? That means that they need sugars. But where sugar is going to come from breakdown of those complex carbohydrates. Then they are supposed to have the sweet smell. Where is it going to come from? Production of those volatile aromatic compounds like esters. So they're the ones that will give it the scent and what and flavor. Then you people said that the ripe fruits are supposed to be soft. How are they going to soften? The cell wall must be softened. You get? And hence the whole fruit will be soft. But remember, the pectinases are very key, so that they help us to break the pectin in cell walls so that it can become soft. You get the point? And then that is all. Is that really hard? Only 4 points. And that is the whole content concerning ripening. So these things were actually mentioned. These ones were mentioned. That commercially it can be used to ripe the unripe fruits, like those ones, and then stimulate flowering. Who can remind me, what is that plant that we said that really ethene concentrates on as far as stimulating flowering is concerned? Let me see if people can recall that plant. I mentioned it as we are writing the commercial applications. What is that plant that we said ethene really inclines itself to as far as, thank you so much, Kema. It is the pineapple. Pineapple. Thank you so much. So that one was following. Now, abscission. Now, abscission is also a very serious thing, though I told you already about it. Though the way it happens, you're supposed to be very careful. Yeah? It happens in a very funny way. And I'm going to brief you a bit. And I think it's even the last thing. Yeah? So this is how abscission happens. Let's take a point like the leaf is going to go off, because the way it goes off is very important. Remember, abscission is the leaf, the flower, the fruit falling off. Yeah? But for us, let's just use the example of a what? Of a leaf falling off. And I explain very well so that you get it. So imagine you're having that leaf like that, and that's the leaf, okay? And then this leaf is supposed to fall off. Are we together, people? That means before it falls off, something must really happen. I want you to listen carefully. Something must really happen here. So that area should really become weak so that it can just fall off. So a lot of things are going to happen in that carrion, and the things are understandable. You don't need to really be scared. You understand? Yeah. So this part is supposed to weaken, and when it weakens, then the leaf will fall off. So the way it weakens, it is very nice. But remember, when this thing finally falls off, maybe the leaf is here and it has actually finally maybe fallen off, have it in mind that it will leave a scar. So we shall have a scar that shall be left here. So have that in mind. Have that in mind, that a scar shall be left. And there is some good biology concerning that scar. So don't think it is just weird. But the way it falls off is that that area must weaken. That area must weaken. That area must weaken, and when it weakens, the thing will fall off. So the reason or the question is, how is it going to weaken? And those are things I want to really tell you right now. Remember, when it falls off, that's what they call what? Abscission. You get the point? But now, what are those steps that are followed? So we are going to first and foremost, it devolves what we are going to call the abscission zone. Actually, let's just read the notes. But let me first tell you the story without illustrating anything, because you can really have it, you can imagine it and understand it without even us watching a video. But I've told you that area must weaken. How is it going to weaken? They first form the abscission zone. So in that abscission zone, we shall have separation of a lot of components. And of course, when those components, maybe they were the ones that are holding this leaf to maybe the stem or to wherever it was really touching, that means if those components start to separate, the area is becoming weak. And guess what? At one moment, you're going to reach this step where the leaf is actually about to fall off. Just do it like that, where the leaf is actually about to fall off, but then there are these other things that keep touching it. These things, those ones. So I'm putting those two lines. So there are those lines that really keep in touch, even when the leaf is trying to go off, but there are those that remain in touch. So those things that remain in touch are what they call the vesicular bundles. And the vesicular bundles are two in biology. Who can tell me those vesicular bundles? Especially those students who studied histology. Tell me the vesicular bundle. I don't know whether people are getting me. The leaf is attached to maybe the stem or anywhere, but let me say the stem or any branch. So we are saying that for abscission to happen, which is leaf fall, are you listening? That means this area where the leaf is touching the stem, that area must weaken. So the way it weakens, maybe the components holding them together should start to separate. Maybe this was the glue that was maybe making the leaf to do what? To touch to the stem, but then the components to start to separate like that. That's the weakening I'm talking about. So there is a point where maybe the components are fully separated, but then they are what we call the vesicular bundles. For them, meanwhile, they keep touching or they keep the leaf to the stem, they keep holding it, but later on they also fail and the leaf finally falls. But at that point, or that point where the leaf has left the stem, there is a scar that is left. You understand? And we are going to see how that scar is really dealt with. Remember, that scar can really bring in bacteria and cause a lot of plant infections. So it's supposed to be protected. And we shall see how that is going to be done. So get that simple biology. Then let's go through. So the vesicular bundles I've been telling you, they are only two here. That is the xylem and phloem. So when they ask you the vesicular bundles, in biology, it is the xylem and phloem. And we shall see the xylem and phloem in details as we study histology. Okay? Maybe that one will be listening to this in the future. We'll have the lesson of histology already covered. So that means for you, you'll be getting everything as planned. Now, they are saying that abscission is unorganized shading. By organized, that means it is programmed. It is programmed. Don't think it just happens. So it is programmed. Have that in mind. That's why they are telling it is organized. And what is actually shading off or falling off, it is a plant part. And it is usually a leaf, fruit, or a flower that is fertilized because it is not needed. So it falling off doesn't really concern us. Now, this is the part that I really want you to pay attention to, because if they are to set abscission, you will have to reproduce the same AC. And I've tried to give you some primary knowledge. So you listen. What are they saying? That at the base of the organ, do you remember the base I told you? That part where the leaf is touching the stem. There is a region we call the abscission zone. Why the abscission zone? Because abscission is going to happen. You understand? So there is a layer of cells, and that layer of living cells is going to start separating. And how do living cells separate? Remember, we are talking of, are you seeing this thing? I try to illustrate it here. That maybe these were the cells that were holding the leaf to the stem. And now that part is supposed to weaken, so they separate this way. Do you remember when I taught you eukaryotes and told you about the middle lamellae? And I told you that it is the middle lamellae that really holds those plant cells together. So that means if at all we have breakdown of that middle lamellae, that means this separation of that layer of cells or layer of living cells is going to be actually supported. And sometimes, to make matters worse, even the cell walls break. You understand? All this is happening simply because we want that area to weaken so that the leaf can fall off. And finally, when all that has happened, what we form is now the abscission layer of the abscisic layer. I don't know whether people are getting me. So you people, this is it. In the beginning, it is just a zone of abscission because we want abscission to start happening. How does it start? The layer of living cells there between the leaf stalk and the stem, those living cells start to separate. How do they separate? Either the middle lamellae breaks, or to make matters worse, even the what? The cell wall. And the moment those two break, or one of them, it ceases from being a zone of abscission. And since abscission has actually happened, or is actually on, or it has actually started, it becomes the abscission layer or the abscisic layer. Are we together? Now, I've told you that even with that abscission layer, the vesicular strands or the vesicular bundles remain touching. You understand? They remain touching the leaf stalk and the stem, like they keep holding the leaf in position. But when they are broken mechanically, maybe by action of wind, maybe when wind comes and it just takes the leaf off, that's what they call final shading. You know that people are getting me. Those also the illustrations. I think now the text is making sense. Like, yes, the weakening began, but the vesicular bundles keep the leaf touching the stem. But when wind comes, it will mechanically remove that leaf by force. Now, that is what they call final shading, because after wind blowing it off, it will have finally fallen. So that means abscission will have been successful. I don't know whether people are getting me. Okay, then what next? I told you that this scar that they are leaving is really very prone or susceptible to infection because bacteria can easily infect it. So we really need to protect it. We really need to protect it by putting there a protective layer. Okay, and that's what they are going to say. What are they saying? A protective layer is formed beneath the abscisic layer to prevent infection or desiccation of the scar, and the vesicular strand is sealed. You understand? So they are supposed to, remember this scar that they are leaving, maybe it is still having the vesicular strands exposed, and they may be really destroyed, yet we need the vesicular strands. It is the xylem and phloem, so important to the plant. Okay, now to avoid, remember that scar can even lose a lot of water because it is exposing the plant tissues. So to prevent desiccation, that is loss of water from the scar, to prevent damage of these vesicular bundles or vesicular strands, to prevent infection by bacteria or any other thing, this scar is supposed to be protected. So a protective layer is supposed to be put over the scar in the name of what? Protection. I don't know whether people are getting me. And then they're adding on some important information here that in case of the woody plants, the protective layer is corky. I don't know that people know what we mean by cork. It will be taught in growth and development, but cork is that dead tissue that you see, dead dry tissue that you see on plants, especially the mango plants. I don't know if people have ever seen it. It is always on these big trees. That cork, it is dry, very dry, and it is full of dead tissue. That's what they call cork. So in the woody species or woody plants, it is that cork that really protects the scar, or it is the protective layer that is put over the scar, or someone can say beneath the abscission or abscisic layer. As simple as that. So let us meditate together. Let me hide it. Abscission, how does it happen? First and foremost, it is programmed. That's why it is organized. Who is falling? A leaf, a fruit, an unfertilized flower. How does it happen? The moment the leaf realizes that now I'm supposed to fall, we shall have the abscission zone first and foremost. What is going to happen? We are having a layer of living cells that is making the leaf touch the stem. So the layer of those cells is going to become loosened. It's going to become weak. How? Those cells, the living cells, are going to start separating. How does the separating happen? The middle lamellae I taught you in eukaryotes that holds these cells together is going to break down. And to make matters worse, or further breakdown may even cause the cell walls to also break. You get the point. And once those two have happened, we now say that now we have what we call the abscission layer. It's no longer the abscission zone because now abscission is actually on. Are we together? But even when that happens, the vesicular strands, the vesicular bundles say no. They be like, let's try our level best and keep our leaf because we need it. Remember, water is transported from the soil to the roots, up the plant to the leaves via the xylem. So these xylems, the phloems, they be like, no, we can't really leave our leaf. Let's first try our level best and keep it in touch. But then the wind comes from nowhere and it be like you guys are joking. Then it just blows off the leaf. So when the wind blows off the leaf, that's called mechanical breakdown of the vesicular strands, you get? And that's what we call final shading, because now finally the leaf has fallen. You get the point? And when the leaf is fallen, that means these strands that were holding the leaf are going to be left exposed on the scar. You get the point? And that part that is left, I believe all of you, or most of you, when you were still children in childhood, you have ever tried to break a leaf off a plant, and you know the scar I mean. That scar usually has that sticky sap, yeah? So that's the scar I'm talking of. It is very susceptible, it is very prone to infection, and it is very prone to transpiration, like loss of water, and it is actually having the vesicular strands. So we need a protective layer over it so that we prevent that a lot of water loss that may cause desiccation. Desiccation is like total dehydration, like drying out. Then we should also cover it to prevent infection by bacteria, and we should also cover it to protect the other vesicular strands that wanted to keep the leaf around. I don't know whether people are getting that content. It should be really flowing. So we have what I've been doing is what we call meditating. So the cork is only present in the woody species. Those who have not yet gotten cork, let me try to put it here. Cork on woody plant stems. Cork on woody plant stems. It is always very dry, very thick, very dry. That is the thing I've been meaning. I think people have now gotten the cork. Do you see the cork? It is always very dry, full of dead tissue. So in woody plants, what protects those scars is that cork. That's why they have told you the protective layer in woody species or woody plants is always corky. So that is the cork. But we shall see it in secondary growth or in growth in plants, which is topic 8, senior 6, term 2. Okay, now, it's not yet midnight. It's not yet midday. That means time is still here. And as I told you, for me, the moment I see people and they are more than 50, I just know that those who are here and left are just lazy. So that means I'll keep moving. Okay? So that means there are no questions. But let me first get at least comments from about 10 people telling me that we are good to go. Because at least I need to know that I'm with people, I'm not really alone. So I need people to tell me, are we together? Should we proceed? Should we proceed with more content? Because now the next thing are interactions, and interactions are very easy. Only 3 people are telling me we are good to go, then the rest, that means I'm alone here. And with biology, I'm supposed to tell you a lot of things so that when scenarios are on, I really don't have to say a lot. Okay? Now someone is saying pardon. Now you is saying pardon. Look through all those people who are saying, yeah, sure, we are good to go. Pick one of them, inbox them in the inbox. Yeah, inbox them and tell them, send me your WhatsApp number, I will consult you. And then they will help you out. Okay. People, make sure you will be in position to say the same statements even without me. Even without me. Okay? Now, you people, since this abscission is really programmed, let me tell you what these leaves do. You see, these leaves are very wise. They know that they are the most common site of transpiration. And you people know that if transpiration gets too much, we may have actually leaves dying. Okay? there used to be a concept. Let me try to remember it. Let me try to remember it. I think it has left my mind. What is that thing? Walting. Is it that? Hey, whoa. Hey, I've forgotten biology. Wilting. That's the word I want. Wilting. And no one has told me that word. Hey, someone was trying wilting. Yeah. So many people used to confuse wilting and transpiration. So in case the loss of water is too much, we may have wilting. And wilting, you see the leaf drooping, not dropping but drooping. So when leaves realize that we are going to lose a lot of water, they shade themselves off. That's why I said that this abscission is planned and organized. The moment leaves realize that the dry season is coming, so we are going to lose a lot of water and we may end up having a bad death, then they be like, let's have a good death. Do people get it? It's like knowing that a war is starting tomorrow, then you be like, instead of dying from a war and I have a bad death, let me just find ways of having a good death. So that's what leaves do. So when they realize that there is going to be onset of the dry season, as you can see, the abscission of leaves, and those are the deciduous trees and shrubs. Yeah. So you like it or not, deciduous trees and shrubs, they are so good at abscission of leaves, and they just do that in most of the cases on the onset of winter. But if at all but for the tropics, it is onset of dry season. Tropics, it's like here in Africa, tropical climate. That is geography of O level and even SST of primary. So we are in the tropics. So for us here, it's mostly for the dry season. We don't have the winter. But in case winter comes in, also the abscission happens. So someone may be like, doctor, if it is winter, then why is abscission happening? Remember, in winter, water is going to be unavailable. It's going to be inadequate. So if water is inadequate, that means the leaves may be disturbed. Maybe they will be the only source of water. Or in one way or the other. A moment. Okay, we are back. So in winter, the leaves can be a bit scared and be like, we may be the only sources of water. Even the winter may not treat us good, because even the water that will be available, like salt water, will be frozen. That means we may not even have compensatory water from roots. You get the point? So what they do, they be like, let's go for a good death other than a bad death. You get the point? So abscission of leaves, whether it's onset of winter, where the soil water may be unavailable because it's frozen, abscission will happen. If it is for the tropics, where the dry season may really have a lot of water loss that may bring about wilting, they still go. So all in all, we are protecting the leaves against possible water shortage. So it's good. That's why it's programmed and organized. Hope you get the point. These are answers you'll be supposed to write in your UNEB. So if you don't really take this serious, I really pity you. Okay? You all know that auxins really can't be in line with abscission. Like what abscisic acid does, auxins don't really like it. So when you're having high levels of abscisic acid, you're having low levels of auxins. As simple as that. Okay? So they are like abscisic acid antagonizes the actions of auxins. Antagonizes means that opposite effect, like it opposes. Don't even look at the word antagonizes, it is opposes. So abscisic acid opposes the actions of auxins, and this is by simply promoting what? That this was all talked about. And because abscisic acid was the bad guy and auxins was the good guy, and all the good things auxins were promoting, the abscisic acid was coming in to inhibit them. So they are not friends at all. Are we together? Yeah. Now they're adding on some good information here that you really need. So they are saying abscisic acid increases abscission by raising the concentration of pectinases. I think you know that, that cell walls have have pectin and cellulose. So the moment cellulases and pectins are available, that means cellulose will easily break. That means the living cells will easily separate. That means the layers of the living cells will become very weak and the leaf will easily fall off from the stem. You get the point? And then auxins, since they are supposed to inhibit abscission, they are supposed to lower the concentration of those enzymes. Do people get that technique? That for abscission to happen, for the leaf to fall off, layers of living cells are supposed to become weakened. So how do they become weakened? The cells, the living cells separate. How do they separate? The cell walls break. What do cell walls contain? They contain pectin and cellulose. How can they break? When pectinases break down the pectin and when the cellulases break down the cellulose. That means for abscission to happen, the concentration of pectinases and cellulases must be increased. Since auxins are against abscission and abscission needs high concentration of those enzymes, that means auxins are supposed to lower concentration of those enzymes. Do you get that? Do you get that? Abscission needs those enzymes. So if auxins are against abscission, then the concentration of those enzymes must actually be lowered by the auxins. Do you get the technique? Do you get the technique? People are quiet. Abscission, the leaf must fall off. For the leaf to fall off, the layer of living cells must weaken. How does it weaken? The cells must separate. How do they separate? Their cell walls break. How do the cell walls break? The cell walls contain pectin and cellulose that is supposed to be broken down. Who breaks down the pectin? Pectinases. Who breaks down the cellulose? Cellulases. That means abscission needs high concentration of pectinases and cellulases. But remember, auxins are so good that they cannot allow abscission to happen because we said in most of the cases it's something bad. So for auxins to really avoid abscission, they should make sure the pectinases and cellulases are not present, or if they are present but in low concentration, so that they cannot break down the cell walls, so that the living cells won't separate, so that the layer of living cells won't really weaken, so that the leaf will remain attached to the stem. Do you get that connection? Okay, that is good. Now, they added here something about ethene, but it was already in the category that ethene can also promote abscission only if applied to mature organs. But we had this already. Remember, ethene does both the good and bad. You just need to be very careful with it. Yeah, you just need to be very careful with it. Now, the interactions are the easiest. And these ones you're just supposed to read. I'm not supposed to tell you much about them. Like the way you're seeing the heading, interaction of growth substances. Now they are telling you that they either promote growth or they inhibit growth. And you all know those that promote growth, it is the auxins and gibberellins. Those that inhibit growth, it is the abscisic acid in particular. So you know the antagonism. Antagonism, I told you that it is like opposing. You get the point? Opposing. Then synergism is the opposite. So for it will be proposing. I know that you're getting me. So when we say that an interaction is antagonistic, that means that they oppose each other's effects. Do you understand? For example, auxins and abscisic acid, they oppose each other's effect. That means their interaction is antagonistic, and that's what we call antagonism. Then the opposite of antagonism is the synergism. Synergism, that means they propose each other's, they reinforce each other's, they amplify each other's, like they support each other's. That people are getting that. For example, do you remember when gibberellins were doing something in presence of auxins? So that's a very good example of plant hormones or plant growth substances that interact synergistically, that they propose, they amplify, they support, they reinforce each other's effects. Then antagonism, those that are antagonistic, they just oppose, like they are not friends, they don't support each other, they just oppose whatever each other is doing. Like, for example, auxins and abscisic acid, or gibberellins and abscisic acid. I don't know whether people finally get it. Now, we are going to do some bit of matching. We are having here antagonism, synergism. You should have the right spelling. Syna, like that. Then gism. Okay. Then I'm going to have oxygens here. I'm going to have oxygens here. Then I'm going to have gibberellic acid here. Then here I'm going to have gibberellins here, or gibberellic acid. Then I'm going to have the abscisic acid there. So we have said that these are interactions, by the mere fact they are called interactions, so we expect more than one plant hormone. We expect one more than one plant hormone. So I want someone who can unmute and tell us how to match with the reason. So Bright, unmute and tell me, what should I match antagonism with, and what's the reason?
Okay, doctor, first of all, the GB should be G, I think.
What are you saying?
I'm like, the gibberellic acid is GA, not GB. Then I answer.
Oh, yeah, gibberellic acid. Thank you. Yeah.
So, synergism, we match it with oxygens and gibberellic acid.
Why?
Because for them, they support and amplify each other.
Exactly. Because in most of the cases, gibberellins will not do anything without the consent of oxygens. But even when they do anything on their own, they do what oxygens actually do. So that means in most of the cases, they support each other, and that they do the same thing. So even synergism, you can look at it as a pair of two plant hormones that usually do the same thing. So that interaction is synergistic. Then antagonism, of course, it will be for these ones, because this one we know it's the good guy, and we know abscisic acid as the bad guy. That means these ones cannot have the same effects. They are completely different, so they oppose each other, and that's where we come out and say their interaction is what? Antagonistic. So that is antagonism. So these are the two interactions. Unlimited, you're just supposed to read them because we have already said them. So I want people to tell me, I want over, here I over 50. So I need over 20 people to tell me that they have gotten that. That if since the word is interaction, so it should be more than one what? It should be more than one plant hormone. Are we together? Now, if at all those two plant hormones do the same thing, that means they support each other. So those ones are actually synergistic. So their interaction is synergistic. That's what we call synergism. But in case they do opposite things, like this one inhibits, the other one promotes the same thing, that means they are not actually related, they are not friends, they are doing different things, they are opposing each other's work, each other's effect. That means those ones are antagonistic. So the interaction is antagonistic, and that's what they call antagonism. So you tell me in the chat that we are actually good to go, and then you take screenshots for those interactions, you read them on your own. They're actually very cheap. They are very cheap. Let me show you. Because some of you may be scared. You'll be like, seems doctor is still having more content to speak. I don't really have more. So you look at this synergism, which are the positive interactions, because we are supporting each other, amplifying each other, things like that. For example, when oxygens are with gibberellins, cellular elongation will happen. When oxygens are with gibberellins, apical dominance will be there. When oxygens are with gibberellins, we shall have parthenocapy. When oxygens are with gibberellins, we shall have fruit setting. When oxygens are with cytokinins, we shall have cell division in the shoot. When oxygens, cytokinins, and ethene are together, bud dormants will be broken. When gibberellins, cytokinins, and ethene will be together, seed dormants will be broken. When gibberellins are with cytokinins, we shall have leaf senescence really inhibited. Now, I want to ask something. What if these two hormones do something negative? For example, you tell me, what if it is ethene and maybe ABA, and they are doing something like maybe inhibiting shoot growth or inhibiting root growth? Is this antagonistic or synergistic? Tell me in the chat. Yes, there are two ethene and this, but they are doing something bad. that they are inhibiting shoot growth, yet we need it. Is it synergism or it's antagonism? You tell me in the chat. You tell me in the chat. They are two, but they are doing something bad. But what they are doing is the same thing. Like they are in line, they are supporting each other. So it cannot synergism. Hope you have the right spelling. Eh? So it is synergism, people. So just look at antagonism as opposing. So yeah, we don't have any opposing. Like they are not opposing each other. They are doing the same thing. Eh? So it cannot be antagonism. It's supposed to be synergism. Okay. I think people have content. Yeah. So as you can see here, they are saying auxins, gibberellins, ethene, they inhibit root growth when in high concentration. Because we agree these things are just good when the concentrations are what? Are low. Ethene and abscisic acid, they are stimulating leaf senescence, which is bad to stimulate aging, but we are doing it and we are too, so we are supporting each other. So the interaction is synergistic. Okay. Now, antagonism, the one they call the negative interactions, like we are opposing each other. For example, auxins promote apical dominance, but the cytokinins and gibberellins do the opposite. Abscisic acid stimulates bud dormancy, but the other gibberellins and cytokinins. But you tell me, am I calling them cytokines or I'm calling them cytokinins?
Cytokinins.
Am I saying the right thing?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Because I thought at one point maybe I'm saying something different. So cytokinins, that is it. Eh? I showed you the cytokines. So in case I mispronounce you, please pardon me, and I will beg your pardon. So I think you can see the antagonism, yeah? That the opposing is just happening. That gibberellins is a long word. Eh? For them, they always stimulate flowering, hence in the long day plants. But abscisic acid will inhibit it there. You understand? Then again, abscisic acid, it will do the opposite. It will stimulate in the short day plants. Then gibberellins will come and inhibit it there. You get? Abscisic acid, you recall, it was stimulating closure of stomata. Then then cytokinins came to our rescue and opened. Abscisic acid and ethene, they are known for promoting aging. Then auxins, gibberellins, and cytokinins, they come and delay the aging. So that means, I don't know whether people are getting it. Eh? So it can even be a group. For example, this is one group that is synergistic to each other, but again, it is antagonistic to this group. But again, this group is synergistic to each other. Do you people get me? This group of auxins, gibberellins, and cytokinins, as they delay leaf senescence, that is synergism. But as they do opposite what this group does, now that is antagonism. But again, this group alone, abscisic acid and ethene, they are promoting leaf senescence. They are two and doing the same thing. That is synergism. So it is synergism. Okay, it is synergism, antagonism, and synergism in one sentence. I think you people get it. Eh? Do you get me? And that is just a special case for only this last point. Eh? Others are okay. Others, it is 1-1. Abscisic acid, cytokinins. Abscisic acid, gibberellins. Gibberellins and then abscisic acid. But this last one is a bit nice. That it's having the first synergistic group doing the same thing of delaying leaf senescence, another synergistic group of promoting leaf senescence, then the antagonism of them opposing, of the two synergistic groups opposing each other. Are we together? What then happens if both impact at the same time antagonistically? Because I see a neutral reaction. I'm not getting you there, actually. I'm not getting you there. I'm not getting you there. People, we have only 2 minutes to midnight, but guess what? We are done, eh? Because we agreed this is our next stop, yeah? That means we only have a table. I told you that it being holiday, we shall try our level best always to make sure that we don't reach midnight. Midnight, you should all be sleeping. But the serious students are supposed to push up to 1 so that they wake up at 7. Those are 6 hours of sleep. Very enough for a student. Then you lock in again, eh? Comparison, plant and animal hormones. Though you've not covered animal coordination, we shall go through some and we'll understand. They are both organic substances because most of them actually have the chemical nature. I don't know whether people recall. You can ask the chemical nature of adrenaline, and they will give you its chemical name. You'll even be surprised. Some plant hormones, you've realized they are acids. We talked of some selective weed killers, the synthetic auxins, the 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. You saw the indole acetic acid, the abscisic acid. That means they are carboxylic acids, and carboxylic acids are actually what? Organic compounds, because they're studied in organic chemistry. So that shouldn't really surprise you. Okay? You will see that some hormones in man, like the progesterone, those sex steroids, that they come from cholesterol, and cholesterol has a very nice organic structure. They work in low concentration. You all know that, because when they become highly concentrated, they will be very toxic. Okay, they affect growth, because we agree they are also called plant growth substances, or just phyto hormones. Are we together? Then they are saying that they may work at a site different from where they are made. For example, the auxins can be made in the shoot apex or in the apical bud, but again they cause an effect in the roots. So they may work at a site different from where they have been actually produced. Hope you know that. Even in man, do you all know where adrenaline comes from? Tell me in the chat, where does adrenaline come from? If you tell me, I'm going to give you 10K. Oh, yeah, I'm going to give you the amount you want. If you tell me where the adrenaline is produced in the next 10 seconds, don't copy. Because I'm going to ask you questions on top of what you've answered. Where does adrenaline come from? Where does adrenaline come from? Hey, people. Seems I'm supposed to teach homeostasis next, because the answer is here. The answer is here, and no one is raising up their hand. You've never heard of the word adrenal anywhere in biology? At your level, they can accept adrenal gland, but who can tell me which part of the adrenal gland? Because the adrenal gland has the adrenal cortex and the adrenal medulla. So tell me in the chat, is it the adrenal medulla or the adrenal cortex? Which one gives you the adrenaline? Adrenal medulla. Thank you, Trish. Adrenal medulla. So, but you all know, which body organ do you know that is usually affected by the adrenaline? Tell me in the chat, because I know you know. What is that body part or that body organ inside your body? You know that heart. Thank you, Mama Bright. Most of you know it. It's the heart. Do you see? It's produced in the adrenal medulla, but it is working on the heart. That it will not work at the site where it's actually made. That it can really go somewhere else away from the site where it has been produced. So it's exactly midnight. So let's have our last table. And then we leave this place. So this side we have plant hormones, this side we have animal hormones. So our role is just to understand this part. Then the other part is opposite, because this is what we have covered today. So they are produced in unspecialized organs, that is right. But for animal hormones, you know that if it is adrenaline, adrenal medulla. If it is maybe the cortisol, maybe the adrenal cortex. These ones are not widely transported in the plant, but the other ones, they move through the blood, and the blood is all over the body. So they can move to all body parts up to when they reach the target organs. But auxins can stay in the shoot apex and just cause shoot elongation. You understand? The ethylene is produced within the very fruit, and then it causes the ripening we want. Okay? In most of the animal hormones, adrenaline is produced from the adrenal medulla, and it works in the heart. The heart is far away from the adrenal what? Medulla. But you find that the auxins may be produced in the apical bud, but again they work there. They be produced down in the root apex, but again they work there. So they can work near or at the site. But the animal hormones, in most of the cases, they work far away. You all know that some of the hormones are produced by the pituitary gland, like the luteinizing hormone. It is made in the pituitary gland, which is in your head, but it's going to look for the testes. I will teach that. Oh, your curriculum doesn't have reproduction, and you will miss out a lot of things. It was really not wise to really remove reproduction from your curriculum. It was something very bad. So these ones are not specific. That's why you realize that auxins can work on the shoot root. They can even go as much as flowers are concerned. But if it is adrenaline, then adrenaline will look for the heart. So for these ones, they're always kind of specific. If they're not specific, the number of target organs are actually restricted. So you cannot find the adrenaline looking for the testes to do what? Nothing. So these ones are majorly plant growth substances, but these ones do a lot of things, even growth inclusive, okay? So these ones interact. You saw the synergistic and antagonistic, but here the interactions are not really so much important or pronounced this side. So you tell me that the table and the similarities are clear because we have tried to say some biology on each in for all the cases. So you tell me that it has been okay, the table or the comparison, and then I sign out and leave. Yes, I told you that the time for ending the class is determined by the lesson targets, not the time. So people are saying it's clear. So I think I'll give you a chance to take screenshots from my good notes. Today let me be good, but you be fast because I'm going to be very fast. So you also be fast at taking the screenshots. And maybe you share them with friends. You take that very fast. After this what? After this meeting, Mambo Bright, you should give me a call. Because if I'm not mistaken, you are part of support admins. But if you're not the one, then you can leave that. But I need to talk to you immediate after this. So you take screenshots very fast. So our next stop shall be the tropisms and then later on flowering. Yeah, someone who can really generate a very good screenshots can share them after in the premium groups because I can see people complaining that the font is small, but I think there are people who can organize them. Yeah? Those who have Cam Scanner, you can really improve the quality and share even it as a document. So you take very fast, very fast, very fast, very fast. Don't want you to complain and say, Doctor, you don't give us notes, so you're not benefiting, blah, blah. Okay. Thank you so much, people, for attending. So I'll sign out. As Paul Tutor, Science Scholars Academy told me to sign out as Paul Tutor, not Dr. Paul. Science Scholars Academy. But these things of plants really bore me because I have not given you now medical content. Now I feel like I've maybe did cheat on you guys. But I hope you benefited. 5327. This is 95 and then this is 92. In case you want to talk to me personally, though I may delay to respond, so you make good use of the support team. I don't see any concern in the chat. Those who have sent me the prayers, thank you so much. Though I'm saying my favorite prayer here. Let me read out that person. Diana, thank you for my favorite prayer. And also God bless you. Because I know your favorite prayer is getting good marks. Otherwise, people, thank you for attending. Our next stop is simply tropism and then flowering. So bye-bye.